Hello, hello, hello. Test. It's on. Welcome. My name is Dean. We're back. We're here. It is the start of the week, short week, long weekend for a lot of people up here in Canada. It's a long weekend. So what are we, Tuesday? I think we're sitting on a Tuesday. It's around 3 o'clock, depending on when you're listening to this. Doesn't matter. Because it's on demand. You can listen to it anytime. So the time and the place and all the other shit does not matter. What matters is that we are here and we have the full complement today, and we're going to do a different show today. Please welcome to the program Lochlin Cross from 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton. Right there at Lochlin Cross on Twitter. A restream guest just below me. Restream guest. His name's Ryan Lindley. We'll go with restream guest today because it's the program we use, and he didn't bother putting his name in the chyron because he's not egotistical. He's not an egomaniacal guy. He doesn't care. Ryan Lindley, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Rhino.
Hi, buddy. How's everybody?
The best. You're on vacation. You've got a nice lookout. We'll get to that in just a second.
Where are you?
Great to see you. He's at the lake, for fuck's sakes.
I'm at the
He's
lake,
at the
baby.
lake. Yeah. There he is. He's at the
Look
lake.
at that.
Yeah.
Undisclosed location somewhere in Ontario. We can't tell people where you are because someone might try and murder you, so we don't want that today. And speaking of people, some people want to murder, please welcome at Sheep King JB, ladies and gentlemen.
Sheep
From
King!
the Sheep King podcast. Of course, you may know him as the guy that likes to talk to crazy people right here on his program and over at sheepking.com. But nice to see you, JB. How are you? Doing all right? Oh, no, I got you on mute. Hang on a second because you don't put headphones on. My bad.
I have
Sorry.
headphones on. What are you talking about?
Oh, do
Anyway,
you got the phones on today? Sorry.
I have a nice cannabis beverage, so I think
Yeah.
it's going to be a chill. We're gonna have great chats today. I'm excited.
Those
Yeah,
things
I'm excited
fuck
too.
me up. Those cannabis
Oh,
beverages.
last night I took one and I crawled to that bed to go to sleep after my stream. I was like, I'm done.
You had one? They're like
Yeah.
10%, dude.
This one is-
Yeah, they fuck me up. I told you I have zero tolerance for those things. I had two on the thing. I was just tore up.
Yeah, I know. But you
Contains
had a
the
blast.
equivalent of 5.1 grams of dried cannabis.
That's a lot of cannabis.
It is. So
That's a
like-
decent amount of cannabis in that cannabis drink. What is it? What do you got there? What's the flavor? What are we talking
it's
about?
Sweet Justice. It tastes like Coca-Cola. It doesn't taste
really?
like anything.
That could be
yeah.
dangerous, right? Like
Imagine
it
that.
tastes
Something
like
that
something we're familiar
tastes
with.
like a Coca-Cola and it gets you high as fuck. What a fucking awesome world we live in, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's just an
I
incredible time
walked
to be
into a
alive.
store and paid for it with my MasterCard.
Oh, did you?
Say that 10
Congratulations.
years ago and see if that was a valid statement.
I paid for my weed with my MasterCard.
It's still hard to believe,
I
isn't
did
it, that
that-
we can get weed anywhere we want, anytime we want, and it's no big deal. Like, it's
Yeah.
just fucking, because the way that we grew up, like, we're a little older than you, Sheep King, JB. We're like, Lachlan's in his 60s. Ryan's approaching 50. I'm approaching 45. So, like, we're in and,
Now
like,
I'm
we're
in-
from that,
apparently
something like
fucked
that.
too.
It's
Oh,
around
don't
that.
worry.
I don't know what it's in. I'm in the ballpark. I'm in the middle-aged ballpark.
I'm younger than you.
Whatever. I didn't account for that.
Your liver isn't.
Yeah,
No.
your livers. You get,
It's
you know, our
what?
livers
If it
are
gets
30
any
years apart.
if it gets any more black and bloated, then Angelina Jolie's going to
There's
try
a
to adopt
skin
it.
on it. Am I on the right pod?
I don't think so.
Is this-
Anyway, not something I would say, but there you go. He just said it.
I said it.
which
Cancel
is
me.
fucking
He's on
hard to
holidays. We'll give him a free pass. He's been drinking since this morning.
That's is what you do. Do you do that when you're on vacay? Do you get shelled early in the morning, like the early morning cocktails? Do you roll into a Caesar at about 8:30 just to knock
do.
off last night's bullshit? Yeah, you do too.
No, we got fucked up because of the weather. We were actually staying in a campground. We actually had a tent and everything, and it was a monsoon yesterday, so we left, and thankfully we had a 20-minute drive away to where Ashley's grandfather lives, where I am now, and we were able to. Charlie's here too. We were able to set up here in the house, and then I went back today to go and pick our shit up. It was just the campground is destroyed. So we were lucky. We had in case the weather screwed us, and sure enough, we had to use it.
Well, good.
Yeah, well.
Are your relatives? You're staying with a relative right now. Here's a question for you: are they the kind of relatives that let you stay inside, or they make you pitch that fucking tent in the backyard?
Oh no! We got full the house, and
Darn.
it's a
Full
very
range.
expansive property too. So like even if we wanted to, we could just take over the shop in the back, which is we could set up there if we wanted to. But we stayed in the house.
Okay.
Great,
Well,
great
good. Nice to
place.
have you.
Yeah, thanks. But no,
Good to see you.
I didn't get gunned first thing. Sometimes that happens, but today has been a busy day with having to go back to the campground to get our shit. So
Driving
I think
and stuff, right?
yeah,
No.
I'd probably keep it sober for. But out the window with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Get into it. Time to rock and roll. You're going to be wasted at the end of it. JB will be high at the end of it. I'm shocked Lochlin isn't drinking. It must mean his wife is home from her vacation. You are drinking, aren't you?
I'll
You
just
are
be
full of
yelling
shit.
from the bed by the end of this. I'll just be.
I had like 16 beer on Saturday, and then yesterday I was recovering Sunday, and then yesterday I still couldn't get going. Like, you know when you're pulling the cord and
Yeah.
and then somebody witnessed it and like, what's going on? You're drinking a pop. Like what? Like I can't get going. So they went and mixed me a paralyzer with about 4 ounces of alcohol in it, and guess what? The mower started. I had
out of
2 of
gas.
those. I had 2 of those, and then yeah.
It's the circle of
Like a
booze.
shot
That's
of
what I used to
pure
call that. Is your hangovers? My hangovers were so bad towards the end of my non-drinking and my drinking. My hangovers were so bad. I was like, the only way I can get out of this hangover is to fucking dive right back into it. It was like, and
Well,
when you're on
that is
vacation, it's
that
like,
is a Lochlin strategy.
yeah, it is.
I also
Well, it
have
was a
that
Dean's
plan at some
strategy,
point
too.
this week.
Attaboy. Good. Well, you
Pound
should be on
back the
vacation.
Everclear, and that'll start any motor at that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it. Just breathe on it. You'll be
It's
fine.
amazing what 2 ounces of vodka and 2 ounces of Kahlua will do for a hangover.
Well, it's not that they do anything for your
Ain't that the
hangover.
truth?
It just masks all the hangover pain because you're getting drunk again. It's like your body's like, feed me the next day. Feed me. So good
Your liver is doing this. You can feel it.
It's not making any noise.
No.
Mine does.
My liver's basically left me a note at this point, being like, "You're on your own."
You're on. Yeah.
So I'm out checking out.
I get
Did I ever tell you guys a story about when I quit drinking and went to the doctor and I got like a full blood workup? Let me tell you this story.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God, no.
So I go to the drink. So I had the spots. You ever heard of the spots? It's when your liver is literally giving out. You get spots all over your back. Like when your liver's like, "Hey, bud, a little help here. Could you just stop for a minute? It'd be great."
It's the white flag from the liver. being like,
You were getting.
hey.
You were
Lesions.
getting. You were the color of JB.
Yeah, I was
literally
Yellow.
yellow.
Yeah, no, my eyes, like around my eyes were, but like it wasn't a.
That's
yeah, I
jaundice.
had the spots. Yeah, I was sick. I was not well. So I go to the doctor. I go get my blood work done. He goes, "Can you come down and see me, please?" And I'm like, "Yeah, here we go. Time to pay the piper for all the fucking hard work I put in drinking." So I go down to the doctor's office. I walk in, and he's like, "Can we talk about your liver for a second?" I'm like, "I knew this was coming." And he's
It's like the adult version of getting
it's,
called to the principal's office.
He goes, "It's functioning at 7%, around 7 to 10%.
Nice.
That's the liver of a 95-year-old man, sir. How old are you?" I said, 45. You should know. It's on the chart. He goes, "You should stop drinking." I go, "I did like a month ago. So cut me some fucking slack." And he goes,
Working
"Oh,
on
fucking." Then he says to me, "Thank God, because you almost died."
Yeah, were you in the room with couches and tissues beside it, or were you in just the normal?
No, I
was in the
normal one. Yeah.
Were there pews?
Did you have to announce you were an alcoholic when you walked into that office?
Yeah.
No, it was a different one.
Were
Anyway.
there styrofoam cups in the back and a box
No.
of Timbits?
No.
Just-
Were you making coffee and taking a tithe offering in a basket? No, I was not. It was like literally a doctor's office.
We've always wanted to. We do wagers all the time. Like we have a celebrity death pool, and we do challenges on the show in the locker room.
Yeah.
Weekday morning is on 95.7 Cruise FM. Anyway, we always wanted to do a bet where the losers or loser of whatever thing we're doing have to go to AA. And
Isn't Jimmy doing something right now where you guys got to give him a
something
punishment?
similar. He's got to go to an anger management course for a day.
I love it.
If
I
he
love
doesn't,
it.
if he doesn't stop raging for the month.
Do you guys think it would be beneficial if the three of us went and did that one day? Like just like like together to see what would happen, what we would discover between the three of us?
Well, for me, like here's the
What,
plan.
blood work?
No, well that too.
Anger
but I mean,
management.
anger management.
Yeah. Well, it bubbles underneath, but I'm good. I've dealt
Just
with
for a gas?
most of the things that deal with me. Yeah, it bubbles
This
underneath.
is my
pretty
anger
sure-
management. You're looking at it. This nice can. Is
That's
my,
your therapy.
That's my anger management.
I'm pretty sure I would probably fight somebody at that. Like, I don't think it would be good for me.
Anger
I just
management.
think it'd be entertaining for the audience to see us, the three of us, actually see who actually passes the test.
You're not an angry guy. Like, I'm the angriest one on this panel.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Hands down.
Lynn's. I
No.
think Lynn's has an extra gear that you don't even have. Like
Oh, really?
I think if the top comes off for Lynn's, I think he loses his fucking shit to the point where it's like
Why
he
haven't I
probably
seen-
feels very ashamed the next day over the things he said and did. That's my
Why
opinion.
haven't
I have,
Someone
a, I
dies.
have a temper too. Like I
You're
do.
not
Like,
wrong.
when I get mad. But
You're not wrong, Dean. Actually, that's a good assessment because there have been, it's a very, very few and far between where that fuse gets lit. But when it does happen, you're right. The next day, it's like, fuck, I really could have approached that a little differently. And I'm wondering if maybe I don't need anger management because I can recognize it at least within the first 24-hour window.
Yeah, you're
Is that
probably
okay?
good.
Yeah, after you murdered somebody, you're like, fuck, I feel bad. I killed that guy yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh well. Anyway, great to have you guys here. We'll deal with anger management and our alcoholism in a little bit. We're going to
dealing with it right
she
now.
just popped out. Oh, there she is again. But please welcome to the program. No, you're okay. You're right there. Please welcome to the program. Really excited to have BDSM educator, polyamory educator, friend of Ryan's, very good friend of JB's, Emmeline on the program today. Emmeline. She just got the one name, by the way. Emmeline.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's like Madonna.
We can see you.
With me a moment. My phone decided to start playing.
Your phone just died?
There she goes.
Yep. There it goes.
Goodbye.
Her phone just died. We'll wait for her
Talk
to plug
about a
That is
share
the
entrance
biggest-
and exit. Like just comes
That's the-
in, leaves.
That's the best tease I think we've ever had on this show.
It's incredible. Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not
She's
even
good at that.
upset
Just
it's
keeps
not
coming.
working. Yeah. We're going to interview a BDSM educator. Her name's Emmeline. Before we get to that, JB, how do you know Emmeline? And then we'll get to your connection with her too, Ryan, because I think we should uncover that. She's a sweetheart. She's super funny. We were just talking about her before, and we want to educate people as to polyamory and what BDSM is today, because why the fuck not? We do serious shit all the time, and I'm tired of doing serious shit. So we're going to take a break from the serious shit, and we're going to talk about the serious business of polyamory, BDSM, swinging, sharing, partners, all that kind of stuff. Because JB, you're in the lifestyle, correct?
I am.
This is what you do.
Yeah.
This is where you're at. This is where you make your cheese.
It is. That's Emmeline and I met at a club for adults here in Toronto. Is probably the safest way to put it. We were probably wearing a lot less clothing at the time, but and we became friends. We talked for 45 minutes one day and then exchanged info, and we've been talking off and on ever since. And very open. She did a polyamory class at this club the one time I went, and that's when I was really starting to venture into it myself, and I learned a lot, and I was able to go back to the people, my partners now, and be like, this is what I learned, and this is who I am, and et cetera, et cetera. So it was very educational. So when we became friends.
So yeah, because you announced on this show a couple weeks ago, well, not announced, you just live your lifestyle and you don't give a fuck, which is awesome about you. It's one of the many things I respect about you, JB, is you're like, hey, fuck, this is me. Don't care. Eat it. And you're like, I'm into polyamory, and you said it in passing. And then Lochlin in that conversation was like, whoa, let's get into that. But he had to poop, so he literally had to poop.
No.
Yeah, you
no.
did. You had to go to the bathroom. You did. You had to go to the
I
bathroom.
may have had to shit. That may have been part of it, but I also have to say this out loud.
Yeah.
You guys all dropped a lot of shit on me that day, and it was too much. It was too much for me to handle. That drop. Then you started announcing how you use a nightly face cream. I couldn't fucking take it anymore. I had to pull the pin.
Daily, not nightly. In the morning, I'll put on face cream after I get out of the shower because my face is starting to wrinkle.
I haven't
And I'm
even
like,
got to the point where I need to talk about that. I'm still processing that you're a face cream user.
I'm a face cream guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I don't mind a little face cream.
I don't even know where I'm going to go with that.
Well, let's get back into the polyamory.
That's why I said we need to put the fucking brakes on. It was a heavy podcast that day.
Yeah.
I had learned a lot. I was really, really holding back on teasing JB about his Dungeons and Dragons podcast set. I was really, really trying to focus on just trying to deliver like good quality content that day, and this stuff just kept coming. And then I phoned you afterwards and said, after I took a dump, I said, we need to do a whole show on this shit because I am fucking fascinated by this lifestyle and how anybody can convince anybody else to do this. And I'm going to be taking notes.
Yes, you should, because you've been married for a very long time to the same woman, and these people are the antidote to that. So let's meet Emma. Emma, M or Emma? How would you like me to call you? What would you like me to say?
As long as it's not Emily, I'm okay.
Okay, M. Friends with JB, friends with Ryan. We found out about you through Ryan, and then all of a sudden, boom! There's very fucking small world. There's JB, and you guys have a connection and a history through the Adult Club. But you're a BDSM educator, correct? Like, explain what that is, and then we'll get into your origin story of how you like to get down.
Can I clear something up really quick because you've left that hanging?
Yes, you're
like, as
into
though
BDSM and polyamory and this lifestyle as well.
Yeah, she puts things in you sometimes for money.
I have a political connection.
Wait, I'm supposed
with
to get paid? No.
It was all politics. It was local politics. That's how I know her. I had no idea that this was a thing until she started promoting her YouTube channel. So my wife is watching this, and I need her to know.
It was
Is that what we call pegging now? Is politics?
Honey.
I have a talent for pissing off politicians.
Emmeline, I need you to make sure that you make it very clear that all we used to do was make fun of politicians together on Twitter.
Oh yeah, this is for Ashley. He's doing this for his wife.
Days on end.
She's sitting next to me.
Yeah, days on end to the point where CBC even wrote an article about it. So
yeah,
okay,
yeah, they did.
Those
Yeah,
were good times. Yeah,
we were causing shit on Twitter for years before we started doing this stuff. So
can you use your hands to describe the size of the dildo that you would strap on when you were with Ryan?
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's about right.
Up there.
Congratulations, Ryan. You're a fucking
Good
gamer.
work.
Very thin.
Well,
though.
when we're not using it for that, we make sure that we don't hit the bumper in the car in the garage. That's what we put.
I must
at
have
the end of
taken
the
some
garage.
time to get to
He
that
has,
point.
he has a deep set prostate. That's all.
His prostate is deep set.
Is that a thing? Let's start there.
No.
Is sometimes a prostate a little further back or what?
I'm not a proctologist, so I would not know.
Yeah. Fuck,
Okay.
dude.
I've
Can you
never
not
gone
start
looking
with
for
like
it.
legitimate medical questions? For
If you're
Christ's
going
sake?
to the proctologist for a prostate, then it is pretty deep.
Okay, so Em, let's get to it. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what's with BDSM education. And this is something new for you, correct? This is something that you've just started?
So this is a reboot for me because the first time I started it, so basically BDSM education is education on the BDSM and kink lifestyle. There's very few resources out there. And so the first time I did it, I literally did like a very boring, here's this, here's the definition, here's this, here's the definition, thinking that it would help. And then actually I was working at the sex club and I had a chance to talk one-on-one with people and realized that people had an idea about BDSM, but to put it in practice, they had so many questions on where to begin, what's safe, what's not safe. So I decided I would use my skills and personality to help educate people and break down the stigma. So,
You've got a YouTube channel, if I'm not mistaken. This is the YouTube channel called Good Girl. It's a new series on YouTube. Am I right? Am I nailing this one? Yeah.
The channel is Emmeline. Right now, if you go there, it's pretty barren because I'm doing a rebranding for the show. But the show is called Good Girl. Mm-hmm. And it's essentially going to be a series. It's a mix of a video blog. So I'm going to talk about my experiences as a submissive. I am a collared submissive. This is a collar. So I'm a collared submissive. So
wait a second. Show us that collar again. Show us that collar again. I'm not sure. There you go. So back down in the okay. So that says you're a collared. That tells people you're a collared submissive. Is that correct?
Yes. So in the lifestyle. So say I were to go to the club and I would go to the dungeon. if there was a dom in there, this would be a visual, don't ask her, rather than because when you walk into a dungeon at a sex club, you will often find people that are more than happy to educate and share. But when you're in a dynamic, you kind of don't do that with other people. So that's what the collar's for.
What do you mean dynamic? Explain that real quick, if you can.
So a dynamic is what you would call a BDSM relationship. So my dom is not my boyfriend, but I am in a dynamic with him. So that's the name of the relationship.
Yeah. You're in a dynamic.
I am in a dynamic.
Okay. And so you came to BDSM and learning how to do this. Is now, by the way, BDSM. If you could kind of break down the acronym for us, that'd be great.
Stand for? Yeah.
So the most basic version of it is bondage, dominance, submission, and masochism. But the S also stands for sadomasochism. So when people think about BDSM, they think whips and chains. That would be the SM part. Or they think of the rope, which would be the B, which is the bondage, and then D is dominance or discipline.
That's where that's where rich guys pay women in certain situations to kick them in the balls in high heels, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that'd be a female dom situation, right?
Well, yeah, it's actually a catch-all phrase for all of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm learning something new. Dude, we're 21 minutes into this. I already know way more about BDSM just in the fucking version of what it means, like how to and so when you say, when you walk into a dungeon, right? Because that's what I've been wondering. What happens if I do walk into a dungeon where
I'd love
people
to see
are having
that.
sex?
I look at my locker in the dungeon when I go to that club. It's not fun. I have to navigate through people.
They have lockers? Is that what you said?
There's lockers to put your clothes in when you get to the club.
And I always get the dungeon locker, and I don't know why I always get the dungeon locker, but I do.
I probably think you like it because at the club we give the people we like the dungeon lockers because they're not as busy usually.
True.
I mean, we don't favor customers at all, ever.
Where do you put your clothes in the dungeon, Lochlin?
This is all very new to me.
Okay.
Lochlin beside him has whips and chains hanging on the wall just off camera.
I have enough trouble deciding which beer I'm gonna have.
Yeah,
that CD wall is false.
And have to pick a room.
Well, when you go
Go ahead,
when you go into a dungeon, if you're not with anyone and you see people having sex, the polite thing to do is just kind of treat them like scenery. But yeah, you could walk into the dungeon, you'll see people on the St. Andrew's crosses, which are literally crosses where you get chained up. And there was a sex swing. We had a glory hole for a while. Spanking
there
benches, CBT chairs, CBT benches. And that's not cognitive behavioral therapy either.
What is it? Yeah, what is that?
It is cock and ball torture.
Cock and ball torture. Okay, hold it. Fucking stop right there. Let's just take a quick break right now because Lochlin is probably semi-erect. And we need to calm down, and we're going to talk about cock and ball torture. Now,
I do have a little bit of blood flow into my cock and balls. I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like I need to share that at this point.
Thank you.
This is
that's why. Yeah.
This is very stimulating.
So open relationships here. We're good.
So you work at a club called, and this is can we say the name of the club? Are we allowed to talk about the name of the club?
Cock and balls torture.
I don't work there anymore, but I have no problem mentioning the club if people want to go there. Yeah. It's Oasis Aqua Lounge, 231 Mutual Street, Toronto.
It's a big deal. I've interviewed the owners of that club about 4 or 5 times back when I had a radio gig, and they were always fun. Like the last time I talked to the people at Oasis, they brought in Brandy Love to have sex with a participant at the club. I don't know if you were there when Brandy was there. Were you there? And
I was in the back end of things. I started as their executive assistant.
No pun intended.
Okay. I got it. The back end of things. So
was there a happy hour at this place? Like
this club,
every hour is a happy hour, Loch. Every hour is a happy hour.
This club caters
for happy hour.
Okay, but this club caters to the sexually curious adult, right? Correct?
Very much so. It's considered a swingers club, a polyamorous club.
Okay, and are you a swinger?
I'm polyamorous, but I'm not a swinger.
Okay, so you're a BDSM educator, so you like the rough stuff, you like the nightlife, you like to boogie, and you also are polyamorous, which means explain polyamory, because you and JB are both polyamorous, and there are different versions of polyamory, but this is something that blows Lochlin's mind. So if you could explain it and what that lifestyle, what does the word mean, and who's involved in a polyamorous relationship?
So for my brand of polyamory, I'm what you would call solo poly, where I'm not actually looking to settle down with anyone necessarily. It's not off the table, but it's that I openly date and form long-term relationships with multiple people, but not necessarily to settle down, meet their parents, this, that, and the other. It's to build a connection, grow, and hopefully have some great sex. I'm bi, so I date both men and women. But surprisingly enough, if it's a romantic thing, I don't combine. So that's why I would not consider myself a swinger. Mm-hmm. But in BDSM, I'll combine. But that's more of a dynamic thing. So there's like, even within everything, there's pockets of different things that are considered normal. Mm-hmm. So polyamory for me is multiple relationships with multiple people. I prefer kitchen table polyamory, which is essentially all the partners know of each other, get along with each other. They don't necessarily have to go out and get to know each other, but they have to be cordial enough where if I wanted to have a barbecue and invite all my partners, they'd be able to come and be comfortable with each other. Wow. So that's my brand of poly.
JB, and yours?
Exact same. Literally
kitchen table. Same. Yeah, because there's different kinds of polyamory, and I'm gonna get into that. But JB, what is explain that kitchen table polyamory in terms of like, because it's not just kitchen table, if I'm not mistaken. Polycules, is that correct? There's polycules.
Yeah. So a
and then there's solo poly, which I'm getting them all mixed up here. But explain those to me.
So solo poly, I'm the same as M in the sense that I'm solo poly. So I have my partners, and I formed relationships with these partners. These partners I love, I care for. I speak to them on an everyday or regular basis, but I'm not settling down with them, right? Yeah. I live in my space, and this is my space, and I either go there, they come here, we do our thing, and we go on dates. Like I'm going to a TFC game next week with one of them. Like I do things with them. We date, but we're not meeting each other's parents. We're not, planning, a wedding or anything like that, right? Like it's just we are, friends, and then we became partners because we like spending time with each other, and then you can't deny love, and if you love each other, you love each other, and that's sort of the way I look at it. And then the kitchen table aspect of that is kind of like Em said, where I have a nice patio behind my house. I can invite everybody over, and we could order some food, have some drinks, and just have a good time. It's not necessarily a sex thing either. It's just this is my partners, and these are your partners. Nice to meet you. Let's all have a good time. And that's sort of like with Oasis, that's the thing I love about it, is because I can either go alone or I can go with a partner, and then my partner can meet other partners, and we can all have this safe space to live our life, right? Without the danger of at-home visits with a new person, if that makes sense, right? You can kind of meet people in the lifestyle without having to do the whole let's go for coffee. Like it's kind of thing. So
I got so many fucking questions.
Well, same here.
I don't even
Loch,
know.
you can come to the barbecue. You are more than welcome to come.
First off, I'm going to say something. I want you guys to know that this is not coming from a place of judgment. This is coming from a place of how my brain is processing this. If I had known about this when I was 20, 30,
40, 50,
60, 65,
and I thought that I would have been able to convince my wife of this, I would have been all over this shit, because to me, this sounds like, all right, here's a chance just to fuck everybody. So I'm wondering, hold on, are you bothered by the fact that that's probably where most people's mindsets go that are in traditional forms of relationships, which either work or don't work, when they are listening to you explain what you have convinced yourself and your partners is a healthy way of existing?
Em first.
Em, go ahead.
Yeah. A lot of the time people do, they assume it's about sex or even group sex. They hear polyamory and they literally just think it's a giant orgy all the time. And then just having to explain that no, it's just a bunch of sighing over how someone changes the garbage can, or no, it's honestly, once you get people to know that it's about the relationship and the sex is secondary. If sex is the most important part of any relationship, vanilla, poly, or not, there's an issue there. So a lot of people, while they think that it's about sex, it's actually about communication. So
Yeah.
it becomes very less fun for people to learn when they find out what it really is.
Yeah,
Well,
it's not as spicy as you think it is sometimes. Like, sure, there's the sex factor, and it does fall under the umbrella of like GSRM, which is gender, sexuality, romantic minorities, right? Because it is different, right? As Locke kind of says, this isn't traditional. But the thing is as I kind of said with and Em kind of highlighted there, is that like we love these people, we're in relationships with these people, and the biggest thing is it's communication, right? Talk it out. And I know, Dean, we talked offline about, like how does jealousy work and stuff like that. And it's all about communicating that jealousy and communicating boundaries and what everybody's individual boundary is, right? And does that work with what you're looking for? And can we continue? Because I'm on the swipe apps. I'm on all the swipe apps, and it's in my profile, polyamorous individual. And I have people ask me all the time, like, oh, so you're just here for sex? Like, is that all this is? You just want to have sex with multiple people? I'm like, I mean, sure, but no, like that's not my intent, right? My intent is to meet people and grow and form a relationship with somebody.
Yeah,
right?
my
Just
intent's the opposite of that, actually.
Sure.
It's funny because like the way that you describe it, it sounds like it sucks, JB. The way that M describes it sounds like it's fucking awesome. Because the one thing that I get caught up in as I'm listening to this, to Lochlin's point, you've taken all the guesswork out of the relationship. Like there's no accountability to another person. You don't have to wonder where they are or what they're doing because you've got an arrangement with this person. It's like, hey, listen, when you're here, we get together, we get down, we have fun, we get it in, and then you leave and you're free to go and do whatever you want. And when it gets to the jealousy part, it's a two-part question. The first part would be, is it something you have to work on, like, or is it something you're just not naturally inclined to be, which is jealous? Like, is it when you're in something with another dude or another woman or whatever the situation is, and you guys have this nice little polyamorous understanding, and that person goes out, is it like, do you not feel any tinge of jealousy, or is it something that you got to work on because it's just part of the lifestyle?
So you definitely have to work on it. Jealousy doesn't just disappear. Humans, we form strong bonds with each other. But when you open yourself up to polyamory, you do have to be able to stop and say, okay, is this jealousy coming from, like, where is it coming from? Is it coming from a fear of being replaced? Is it coming from a possessiveness? Like, depending on where it's coming from, will actually help you figure out how to deal with it and how to reason with yourself. And there are not, 9 times out of 10, I experience what's actually called compersion, but it's also the one partner that I have that, so I currently only have one partner, not very good with the polyamory. And they're my dom. So, but we experience in our dynamic compersion. So he'll tell me he's got a date, and I actually want to hear about it. I want to hear all the dirty little details, kind of as foreplay, provided their partner is okay with sharing the details. So like for me, for that, and in that situation, I actually find it a turn on to know that my partner's been with someone else. But in terms of relationships, I had a partner a couple years ago where every time that she would go on a date with a guy, though to be fair, she was my first girlfriend, every time she'd go on a date with a guy, I would feel like it was a personal affront to me, even though I was dating both men and women. And I don't know why I received it that way, but for the longest time, there was an argument every time they wanted to go on a date. And so I did have to do a lot of work on that. But jealousy is there. And it requires communication. So if you're feeling jealous before a date, you say to your partner, hey, I'm feeling a little jealous, and then you work together. Okay, well, do you want me to check in on you during the date, or do you want me to do this? Do you want me to do that? And so then other times it's, well, this is something that you have to deal with. And it depends on each partner, and it depends on who you're talking to. So some partners will be like, oh, well, you know what, I'll reschedule until you feel better. I'm personally, unless there's a huge life issue going on that I need my attention to be there immediately, it's, you know what, I really appreciate that you're sharing your feelings with me. However, I did let you know this was going on, and I would be glad to spend some time with you, like carve out some time to spend with you this week so that we can address it. It's a lot of juggling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's Lynn's just did the noise. Lynn's just did the noise, and I agree with that noise wholeheartedly. Like, I'm listening to you talk about calendars right now. That's all I'm seeing is like, how do you schedule this communication? It just sounds like a fucking disaster. It sounds like all you'd be doing is having conversations about, you okay? I'm okay if you're okay. What about Thursday? Not going to work Thursday? Maybe Thursday. How about Friday? No Friday? No, you're with that guy. Why are you going out with that guy? Anyway, I shouldn't be jealous. Let's talk. It's what you're describing to me is every reason why I'm not in a relationship with like anybody, because it's like, even what's that, Rye? Yeah,
we should get him to go in and back in and out.
Yeah, I can't hear him.
I have a question. I have a question. So we've dealt with the communication side of things, and we've dealt with the fact that yes, because that was the thing for me. When I started to hear about this and learn a little bit about this, so the jealousy thing was like, okay, I can't even wrap my head around the idea of somebody coming to the door. Honey, it's Jerry. Yeah, okay, I'll be back when I finish boning Jerry. I can't even fathom the idea of sending my wife out on a date with somebody. And the other thing that I find very, very interesting is you guys have just sort of settled into this idea that this is a lot of work. Is there ever a point, Em and Sheep King, I need you both to respond. Is there ever a point where you go, this just is not fucking worth it?
This is too much work.
Because I'm exhausted just listening to you two.
Look at Em. Em's like, do I be honest? And JB's like, should I tell the truth? Like,
no, I'll spill. No, it's like, yeah, there's times where like it's a lot. A relationship on its own is a lot sometimes to juggle and to handle, especially when you have to work and you have your life and all this other stuff. It is a lot to do, but I think in today's day and age, with the power of and a way to instantly communicate with somebody if you needed to talk, I think it's much more manageable, right? Like you can be in touch with everybody and you can express yourself. Like, I'm not going to say it on here, but everybody here, I think except for Loch, knows that I went through some things the other day, and I was able to, with my two partners, being able to talk to both of them, which was actually really helpful for me during that time when I had that event happen. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can call her, and then I'll call her. Like it's great for that, right? You have you have a big support tree, if that's good, if that's a way to put it, right? And you could add to that for sure, because I didn't do that justice. But
sorry, for me, so I took myself off the market completely for a while because I messed up. Like I can admit that, and I wasn't in a good place to have the relationships I wanted. So now that I'm there, I find the part that makes me want to give up is having to constantly explain to people that it's, I'll tell people like I'm seeing more than one person, I'm polyamorous. I'm like, okay, but once we get in a relationship, that stops, right? And it's like, well, no, this is the relationship. This is what it is. And so for me, going back into the dating game is absolutely exhausting, because not only am I dealing with, no offense, I am just going to say this, I'm dealing with men. as an attractive
Yeah, we
woman.
suck.
I'm dealing with men.
No, hold it. You're not going to upset us by telling us we suck. We're very well aware of it. Yes.
We're
fair.
prime beta males. We accept our
totally.
fate.
Yeah, we get it. Yeah.
And then
I don't know what beta is, so I'm not going to admit to that just yet.
and then as
It came
a
before
femme,
VHS, Lochlin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So beta's
and
bigger?
then as a femme type lesbian lover, because I'm bi, but I'm femme, so it's hard to find lesbians that will give me the time of day, to be perfectly honest. Because I look like I'm high maintenance. Surprisingly not.
I look like I'm high maintenance.
I do. So I find the frustrating part for me is the start, and I get discouraged quite easily. But once you find a good groove and you meet your, you can start off with partners that don't end up being your partners later on. It's all about the growth and the change and finding what works best for you. So once you're in it, it's not exhausting. It's getting into it that's exhausting.
It's a legwork.
Can I ask
It's getting on the track.
Yeah. Go ahead, Roy.
I don't take this like as some sort of judgment, like Locke said earlier. I'm literally curious. Are you, and it's for both of you, are you attention seekers, like by nature? Like, are you attention-seeking people? And was there trauma? Was there some sort of traumatic, like, relationship thing that drove you into this sort of relationship choice of lifestyle?
Way to take it from the sexual and deposit it right into the psychological. Scary. Thank you very much.
I mean,
Appreciate
am I
it.
an
just lost my
attention
boner.
seeker?
Thank you,
It's an
Ryan.
honest question. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm very
As a-
curious because I don't know anything about anybody. I don't know anybody in this. I'm just wondering because it sounds like, because you're talking about, like JB said, he went through something the other day, and he was able to call two partners to out with. I can barely communicate that with one. If that happened to me, one having to explain it over and over again too.
Yeah.
You've got a lot more. You've got a lot more bandwidth to you when it comes like that. But is it because you're like, are you an attention seeker, JB, by nature, or?
Ryan, I make TikToks yelling at stupid people on the internet. Of course, I'm an attention seeker. Like that's my life. No, but in all serious,
I'm being
no,
honest. I'm not
always-
being judgmental.
No,
I'm asking.
No, I'm just being an idiot. But no, yeah, like I would say I was always somebody that wanted to, I was the class clown, I guess you could say would be the way to classify it as a kid and growing up. So yeah, I like to kind of, I like to be in attention. I like to have the camera on me and stuff like that. Like I enjoy it. But as for the trauma question, sort of like there was nothing really, no incident, like one incident that, set me off to this. It was more just years of just in my 20s, just getting hurt, right? Hurting people, getting hurt, whatever.
So
it wasn't.
Is it? Are you just trying not to like attach your, like, traditionally attach yourself to something? Is that what it is, or because you don't want that to happen again?
It's for me. My venture into this, which is within the last 2-3 years, is that I found that monogamy and monogamous relationships just always ended with one of us getting hurt or both of us getting hurt. And this is another way. It's one of those things. It's like, this isn't working. I'm going to do this now because this is an alternative that is appealing to me as we talked about the solo poly and stuff.
Yeah. It's a wall to put up against commitment then, I guess.
It's preventative.
Yeah. It's just
Is
cutting
that
the
fair
bullshit.
to say it's a wall? Because I've talked to this is the third or fourth serious conversation I've had with individuals that view this as a lifestyle, not and actively pursue it. And every single one of them has said that they believe that the world has it wrong, that this is the way that relationships should be conducted by everybody en masse, and we'd all be happier.
That's a great question. I think the wall thing is not necessarily an incorrect statement. I wouldn't call it a wall for me. It's just more of I've seen that field not looking as green as this field does. So I'm going to try this field for a bit. right? It's
That
like
makes sense.
I'm just trying a different field for a little bit, and maybe the other field may jump back into my life. It's happened, right? It's
You
not,
think you
it's
might,
not
if you
impossible.
ever met somebody that was like you thought was the one, you would quit it and stick with one person, or
I'm not going to sit here and say no, that's not going to be a possibility, because it is, right? But I just don't see my path, especially now I venture into my 30s. I don't see that being in my 30s. I just don't, or maybe
future,
ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
What about you, Em?
Yeah.
Same question.
So I definitely do like attention. I spent pretty much my entire adult life sharing my life on social media. I used to make a living on YouTube years ago. But when it comes to BDSM and even polyamory, I kept that kind of quiet for the longest time, partially because I was hiding from it. I grew up in a very traditional house and family and all that. So knowing that I wanted to try these things, I kind of just pushed it down, and so I think I traumatized myself there. And then in terms of attention and dating and walls and whatnot, I just like it because I feel like I'm often too much. So knowing that there's multiple people who they're able to handle the communication and because I do find polyamorous relationships do tend to be a bit more needy in terms of communication and reassurance, at least in the start. So I find being around people that understand that definitely helps. I mean, I do have trauma that I've definitely taken inspiration from in BDSM as a way to kind of cope, heal, and regain some of that control by deciding to give that control to someone else. But for dating, it's just I've always felt the idea that one person being your everything is too much expectations to put on someone.
See, I never thought of it. I never thought of it that way, and you just said it perfectly. You hit the nail on the head for me. For that explanation was, you gave the permission for them to take that control rather than having it just stripped from you, and that's huge. That's like that's big. That's a big,
I love how Loch's
big way to
taking notes.
regain control. Good for you.
I just wrote down, she wants to spread the am around.
And it's funny because like I've worked at the sex club. I only had sex there twice. I talk about sex. I do sex education. I am I'm a 6 or 7 date type girl before you even get to see a nipple. So unless you see me at the club, then the nipples
yeah,
are,
I was just gonna say, wait. I'm pretty sure that's how we introduced each other.
that's why I got people to come to my events.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why you're gonna surpass us on the YouTube subscriptions too. By the way, just so you know.
Yeah.
I have a question that might take...
Hang on, just one second. You're a 6 or 7 date person, but you'll walk into a dungeon and get down.
I'll host DTF event or Bukkake
Those are
Night
great
in Canada.
nights, by the way.
Bukkake Night in Canada.
Yeah. We've talked about Bukkake.
Yeah.
Have you been on the receiving end of one of those evenings?
I was. The first time we reopened, it was this past December. It was our first reopening, and we were doing our online streaming platform as well as the in-club, and we couldn't find a volunteer to do the online stream. So I did it, and oh my gosh, I got right up the nose. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. They asked, "Oh, may I tilt your head back?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, that's fine." They just go right up. I had the strangest boogers for days, and it's a good thing I don't pick and eat because it's not my thing.
That would be my worst day as well. Just so you know.
Yeah, getting someone else's cum in your nose. Yeah,
yeah.
Wouldn't be my.
I would say that would
be
probably right up
on
there.
the list of things I try to avoid, actually.
And for the record, that's not the night them and I met. Just for the record.
You weren't there. You weren't there.
You weren't there for the Bukkake night?
I have been to Bukkake night, but not that one in particular.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you take part in it as well? Were you part of
I went camping this weekend.
Yeah, right.
No, no, I did not. I do not take part. I'm a silent observer in that sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I normally sat out, but because I was the event host and I wrote the events, so I planned the games and stuff. But when we didn't have anyone, you do what you got to do. Plus,
it's like the general
You're
manager of a
such a
McDonald's who
trooper.
goes
You
outside
gotta-
and picks up the garbage because the garbage guy isn't around. You had to do it, right? You led by example by allowing that to happen to your face. Yeah, I get
You
it.
got to take
Respect.
one or 10 for the
something off
team.
my bucket list, right? So,
Is it good for your hair?
no, it is
Good for
not
your
good for
skin.
your hair or your skin. It is actually terrible for your skin.
Look at
I
Jay,
had
he
to-
just found out it's bad for the skin. He's like, that's what
I've been using that line for years, and
I don't know if it's the difference between like 1 or 2 loads or 20.
Yeah.
But I just know my skin hated me.
Mhm.
So
Okay. I have a question. I gotta get this out of the way
Please.
before this thing ends. Em, what's with the stalking?
which part?
It's August. The stalking, the Christmas stalking. Is there
Behind
something
you.
in there?
It's behind you. You got a Christmas stocking on
Oh.
other side. Other side. There you go.
Oh,
There.
I'm in the small humans room.
Yeah.
So
So small humans.
they
Okay.
know that Santa lives in this sock throughout the year, and then on Christmas Eve he fills it with toys and stuff.
Okay.
And
All
so-
right. I was.
So I don't lose it.
The
Full
stalking
stop,
was thrown.
everybody.
I was thrown by the stalking. I'm sorry. I was
All
just
right.
kept thinking.
It's
should
one of
have
my
blown your
kinks.
mind if
you
she
know.
said it was a BDSM thing.
That's one of my kinks.
Okay, so what is it that you don't do, Em? Like you it sounds like you're kind of game. Are there things that you like? You know, just you said it earlier in an acronym, but you're down to fuck.
Yeah.
Are there things that you won't do? Are there like certain like the rack, the torture rack? Have you tried it all? What are your favorites? Like, take me through kind of the menu of who Emma is. Em, slowly.
So, oh boy, just a warning.
Slowly, let
I'm
me put on
not.
some music.
Years of therapy to forget me, and I don't cover the cost. So no, I am. I have a degradation kink. So that means I like to be called some pretty disgusting names. I am into pain. I'm into a lot, but there's also a lot that I haven't explored. So in my first dynamic years ago, which is actually part of why I'm doing the series, I was in a very toxic dynamic, but there were no resources to figure out like if it was toxic, if it was healthy. So I found out that I'm not into water sports. I am not into anal. My current Dom is actually discussing that with me, so we're in negotiations to see how that will go.
Is there a salary?
All part of the communication.
That's right.
We shall see.
So far, we're 2 for 2 for the same things, just so you know.
Just yeah, me too. I'm absolutely not into it. But just so you know, apparently muscle relaxants go a long way. Continue. What else aren't you into?
Tips
So-
from Dean.
I love being
Dr.
tied up.
Blondell.
I love there's things like orgasm denial, so we call it edging. So I love edging. I love being degraded. I like CNC, which is something that you can't do in public, especially
is
not at clubs.
What is
Consensual
CNC?
non-consent.
Oh,
All right.
thought it
This
was
sounds
Music
dangerous.
Factory.
Tell me
Sound like a
all
90s
about it.
hip-hop.
Slowly.
For lack of a better word, it is a violent fantasy. I don't want to say the R word.
like a,
Um,
Oh. And are you the
But
one?
it-
Are you the one delivering the violent fantasy, or are you the receiving end of the violent fantasy?
I'm the receiving, but the thing with CNC is so because I'm in a dominant submissive dynamic, we have safe words. When you do CNC, you're given a chance to use your safe word as things start. And the way that it's worded is done in a way where it doesn't break the role play. But if you say that you're not going to say the safe word, like all bets are off, and you are at the mercy of the other person. And for me, that's just a huge turn on. And like in a CNC scene, all hard limits are gone. So even the things I don't like, they can technically happen. It's a chance to shut off my brain, be used and abused and experience pain and just primal lust, because I'm just essentially being ravaged. He's going to town, he's slapping, hitting, spitting, calling me names, and it's just, it might not sound fun to a lot of people, but it is like, I'm glad I'm wearing pasties because they'd be a little pointy right now.
Well, you're getting excited even talking about it. Is that correct?
It's something that excites me. Giving up the control and giving up the power, like, because at the end of the day, BDSM, it's about a power exchange. So I enjoy giving up that power and seeing what someone does with that power and what they put my body through and what I can push my body through. And then a big thing of it is I get pleasure knowing that I'm pleasing them, and then vice versa. When you please your dom, they make sure you get off. So it's I just love giving up control. That's essentially it. I don't like other people touching me in a scene. Like, so if Sir and I decide someone's going to play with us, that's like, we have to know all the players at the start. If someone wants to join later on, like, I can't.
You can't just tag in, is what you're saying. Like, if let's say Loch is your dom. Let's say Loch is your dom, and he gets a little wheezy and winded 2-3 minutes into it. He can't go tag in, Dino.
I can see
unless
me not
there's
being
like an
able to
original.
last long.
If I stand up right now, I won't be allowed back at this lake.
I would prepare maybe a week on the rowing machine or something, but yeah, I'm not sure that this would be a long-term investment for me.
So
that's all cleared up. Quick.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that Loch, you need to have all this stuff arranged. And when you say you don't like being touched, it's by the person that's doing the dominating, or it's by the other person?
No. It's by somebody else coming into the scene.
Yeah. So
that's just weird.
So an example of that would be if M was playing dom in the club that we both went to. Yeah. I entered the room and started to participate without seeking that consent, right? Or seeking that conversation. Even if I knew M before that, right? And I knew her boundaries and I knew what her, it's breaking through that. And that's probably the best way to describe it. But
okay, I have a question for you, Sheep King. Sure. Are you
well, hang on.
I'm anything?
No, let's get to him in a second because I don't think M's done. And no offense, I'd rather hear M talk about what she likes and doesn't like.
I just wanted to know. I wanted to know if Sheep King had a similar type dynamic in that he likes the fantasy role play as well.
Yeah, we'll get to him after we're done with him.
I'm not as nearly as exciting.
No offense. Right. I'm having a great time here, and when JB starts talking, it's over. So no. Go ahead, continue.
Well, we're glad you're here, JB.
Yeah, I love you, JB.
Love you guys too.
I enjoy FFM threesomes very much, to the point where, at least in dynamic, like, that's the thing, is in dynamic your brain just goes to a different place. I enjoy them because regardless of if I'd like to orgasm, if it's the woman getting me off or my dom getting me off, I still have to ask my dom for permission to come. Mm-hmm. But because we also have the dynamic set up in a way where only he and I will have kinky sex with each other, we can have whatever types of sex we want with other people. So when we're in a threesome, to bring that in, there's been one person where I actually found it more of a turn on for them to call him sir as well. But for the most part, I very much enjoy having the dual, where there's the vanilla sex, as vanilla as a threesome gets. There's a vanilla sex with Sir and the other woman, and then
not very
there's
vanilla.
my
Let me just throw that out there.
Sorry?
Chocolate swirl.
Loch doesn't think any of this is vanilla. He's just pointing that out. He lives in Alberta. He
Well,
doesn't know what's going on.
Anything that you've gone through would not be representative of vanilla.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah, I guess if I'm calling threesomes vanilla, I don't know. So I enjoy 2 women and a man and threesomes. I have not tried an MMF. It's something I wouldn't mind trying, but I have to find 2 partners to try it with because my dom is not into that. Choking is great. Choking is awesome.
Well, hold it. Let me just say, I got to stop you here. I've had this conversation several times, and it's a thing. like where someone will ask you, "Hey, do you mind choking me?" And they never ask ahead of time, right? This is the problem with just regular vanilla losers like
you
myself.
are in the wrong group then, Dean. Maybe you need to get into the polyamorous world.
I need an e-sign waiver at the ready.
Yeah.
Can you sign
Exactly.
us real quick?
Anyone can enjoy rough sex and anyone can enjoy kinks, but what makes it dynamic is a power exchange. So if you watch Good Girl, I'll be able to explain all these things and the differences and idiosyncrasies.
I probably will be tuning in on a fairly regular basis, but I need to tell you something about the world that we live in. And the fact that I have a penis and that the majority of this panel has a penis. The conversation we're having right now is not the conversation that you have in the traditional world that we live in the overly woke world that we live in. You, my friend, are a bit of a unicorn. The fact that you can openly admit that you give up your power to anybody, whether it's a male or a female, is extremely not within the times that we live in. So you must feel a little out of place.
We have a different word for unicorn, right? Unicorn means
Yeah.
something different in our world.
What's a unicorn?
Yeah, unicorn means because I am a unicorn.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
You're goddamn right you are.
What's a
somebody,
unicorn? I'm sorry. Did I just stumble into something awkwardly here?
No, it's a woman who likes to partake in threesomes with another man and a woman, typically couples. And why it's called a unicorn is because those people are rare and they rarely exist, right? Because it's just a different.
That's the FFM
it's rare.
one, right?
Yeah, female, male.
That means you're a unicorn if you do female, male.
The third female is the unicorn, I guess.
Well, it's more to do with couples.
I was unaware that threesomes worked any other way, according to the movies
unicorns
I watched.
and there's Pegasus.
Yeah.
Oh,
what's a Pegasus? Yeah.
Pegasus is when a guy joins a male-female couple, so two men and a woman.
That's the
That's the pegging. You're right. You got it.
There we go.
Pegasus.
Pegasus.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, we get it. We know how it works. You don't have to do that. We don't.
Actually, wait, it's this.
Yeah. Oh, that's what.
Oh, yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
But how do you do
like
two
this
O's?
I don't know yet. When I find out, I'll let you know.
That's
You haven't done it? You haven't done DP? Yeah. No.
No,
Is it something that you would try? Is it something that you would try, or is it like are your privates claustrophobic?
I would like to try. One of my fans on OnlyFans sent me a machine. Think of like a reciprocating saw. And I kind of want to try that during sex, just to see how it would be. But I have to. Some of the attachments are a little thick, so I'm not sure I'd have the room. Because are you talking
about one of those like reciprocating dildo jobs that just kind of bang, bang? Or are you talking about a Symbian machine? What are you talking about here?
Not the Symbian. Those are fun too. But it's actually like a reciprocating saw with dildos on it.
Raise your hand if you've ever gotten one of those in the mail.
I've never seen that on This Old House, just so you know. I'd like to make that clear.
So what you're saying is, Em, is you do not work in the HR department at your place of employment.
I am currently self-employed because of HR. No, no. I am currently self-employed, but yeah, it's definitely not in HR. Surprisingly, it's usually in management. Mm-hmm. For someone who likes the whip cracked, I also like to crack the whip on others. So.
Nice.
It's just fascinating. So you've got your OnlyFans account, right? Let's get some stuff out so we can promote your work. You've got a YouTube site, Emmeline. Is that correct?
Yes, I do.
Just Emmeline, and Good Girl is the name of your show. You just started. You are a kink/BDSM educator. We're talking with Em. She's also got a very healthy TikTok following. You can find her on Twitter as well, and you can also find her on. There you go. There's you.
Instagram.
This is your Instagram account, if I'm not mistaken. There's you in that shirt again. By the way, outstanding shirt. Yeah, is that this morning? You just took that this morning?
I took that this morning. I had to go do some chores at Sir's place this morning. Actually, I'll share the when I called JP, I was on my way home because my makeup got destroyed. That's also why I'm wearing my sunglasses. I did not get home in time.
Oh, you got it today. You got it.
You had a
went over
good
to your
time.
sir. You went over to your BDSM sir, and you got it in.
Yeah, I'm just here for this, and then I'm going back to finish my chores because
She wasn't done.
Oh,
You were
hold on. So
allowed.
he makes you do what kind of chores do you do, and what happens during the chores? This is exciting. This is like the set of a porn now. Go ahead.
Jesus Christ.
so I am a service sub, so that means that I take pride and pleasure in service. So anything I can do to make Sir's life easier. So we got a computer desk at his place today, so he had to go to the meeting. So I was there setting up the dual monitors and making sure all the cables were nice. I wash the dishes, I do the laundry, I clean the house. If they need appointments booked or anything like that, sometimes emails followed up on, I'll do that. Basically anything that makes the life easier is something that I'll do.
Dean's like, where is this person in my life right now? Like this.
I'm looking
Locke,
at
are you
a tub
listening
of
to this, dude?
Thompson water seal right now.
Are you listening to
The
this,
deck needs
Locke?
to get
Are you
done.
listening to him? Are you listening to this? This is a whole new world.
Well,
Where do I get one of you?
Well, it's funny because outside of role, I am complete opposite, which is also why I like submission so much, because I am so in control of everything that happens in my life. I've been a mom since I was a kid myself. So I had to learn very quickly how to run my life and how to make sure others knew how to fit into my life, essentially, like very high strung type A personality. So being able to shut that all off and let someone else do my thinking and know that I can do a more, I guess, traditional gender role type service, I don't know what about it compels me, but I enjoy it. And I found someone whose kinks match with mine. So
Coincidentally,
yeah.
my kink is also having someone come over and wash all the dishes, do my laundry, set up my computer, be an high-tech person, and then bang me. That's
Honey,
also,
you should.
Yeah, that's also my kink. By the way,
Are you popular at the PTA meetings?
No, goodness no. I remember, so I did some acting in some B horror films, and my eldest took her up to dance one day. And I explained the movie to her, going, "Oh, well, there's no kids in it." She asked, and so she goes to the change room. She goes, "Oh, my mom's gonna be in an adult film." None of the moms even saw it. Like, did a double take. They're like, "No, I can see that. I can see that." And it's like, all right. This is the same kid that called me Jar Jar Kinks after she found my tickle trunk. So it was around Halloween, and she goes, "Hey, Ma, you could go out as Jar Jar Kinks." I'm like,
yeah, that's it.
Let's go.
Wow.
That's another thing I should do an episode on. Lock up your toys.
Are there what you're describing that you do with your service? What do you call it? Service dom?
Dean is stuck on you doing
Service
dishes for this dude.
Yeah. Let's get back to
his
when
full
you can
sink.
come over here for an hour.
I am not going to be able to continue until we discuss why you're doing his laundry.
Because I get rewarded.
Yes, she gets a reward.
I get a reward.
You realize how fucked up this conversation is. Like you realize that, Em.
In a
Like
good
it's
way.
just
I'm gonna-
not. It is not
We'll do laundry for sex. No,
I need
the.
that sign.
I'm telling you right now, this is not. You do not live in the rest of the world. The rest of the world is desperately trying to get past this. This is the message that we are being forced fed on a regular basis. We are all supposed to control our natural instincts that we live with to adapt to a more equal world, right? And what you're saying is that world is fucking throwing you for a loop. So now you actually perform these chores for sex with somebody. Like, do you understand?
I do, and
crazy this is for us to hear this.
well, it's funny because I actually think, so I am a raging feminist, and when people hear feminist, service sub, BDSM, polyamory, all this stuff, for me, it's about the choice. If I would like to do this, that's where my equality is. My choice is to, like, my last romantic relationship, I'm not doing the fucking dishes, pardon my language. I'm not doing the dishes in my last relationship. I'll wash my own. But in a dynamic...
Thank God you apologized for the F
Jesus.
word, by the way. Thank you.
Jesus, take the
My
wheel.
apologies.
Yeah. No, to M's point too, and kind of to expand for you, Loch, you say it's not, normal, which sure falls into that category I said earlier, but you'd be surprised how many people in your community, in your world, in your city are like Em and I. Like, it's much more populated than I think people realize. Right?
No, I'm aware of
Where
that.
do you fall into this, JB? Where are you? What are you into when it comes to this kind of stuff? Are you into, like, what do you like to be?
Yeah, your turn now.
My turn. Okay. The blood flow's coming back, boys. Get ready for
Talk
this.
as fast as you possibly can, though.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll
get
talk
through
after.
it, would you? Send
After
us
a
an
drink
email,
like
actually.
this. Oh, no, I'm
Read it,
pretty
email.
straightforward. I'm a switch dom leaning, so I tend to do more dominant things, but there's times where I like to be dominated as well, but again, I'm more switch dom leaning. I enjoy group activity, exhibitionism, voyeurism. I've done CNC, like Em says. I've done the chore thing. Like it's I've kind of
whoa. So can I assume that we can be like Chuck Woolery here, and like do we have like a setup on this show? Like, can we get the two
between
of
me
you
and Em?
together? Or
Oh,
I mean,
I'm so down.
not us planning this week or next to hang out and have drinks. But anyways, no, it's that's the beauty of having this open communication and talking about what you are, because you are able to get through the bull crap and find out, okay, this person I'm going to be compatible with because I'm dom, they're sub. We're both looking for the similar things. We're both polyamorous. We both can have, this dynamic. You're just getting right to the point almost, right? You don't have to find this out, when you're in the heat of the moment, throwing the clothes off. You can, kind of to Dean's point where he's been said, oh, I like to be choked, but he had no idea. What I tend to do, and I'm sure Em can agree with this, is I just establish that beforehand, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you like this, you like this, you like this. This is your boundary. Let's go.
You got a checklist.
Right?
Yeah, you guys have checklists where you're like, how are you with choking? Yep. Okay, great. Check mark.
Yeah,
What
Sign
about
here.
your
Literally.
piece? Can I take
Yeah,
the
it
bone
is-
piece? Yep, go ahead. You can take
Yeah,
the bone
it is
piece.
that straightforward. And even to your point of not being normal, I know for a fact, I'm not going to name names, but I have followed the show. I know for a fact you've had people from the community, apart from JB and myself, on your show that you would never assume they would be part of the BDSM lifestyle.
were they politicians? Tell me they were a politician, please, immediately.
Politically
Just lie to
minded.
me.
Politically
I don't
minded.
care.
I have a
Politically
story. I have a fun story from Oasis that I met somebody there. We started to have that conversation, and we started to have the intent conversation. There was an agreement to play with each other, but we couldn't do it at the club. I needed to go back to her place. When I went upstairs, there was 2 NDAs sitting on the table, and she's like, "I need you to sign this," and that's all I can talk about.
It was Christine
So-
Elliott, wasn't it? It was Christine
can't
Elliott,
say.
the former.
I can't
former
say who it
deputy
was, but
premier.
It's Doug Ford, wasn't it?
Doug Ford,
It was
right?
Doug Ford.
Well,
Yeah, Doug Ford's daughter, actually.
like that's it. Is the community, as much as some of us are quite open and happy to talk about it, it's a respect thing. You don't out someone. In Ontario, BDSM, you cannot consent to being injured. If I ask you to hit me and you hit me, I can then turn around and press assault charges. So
That seems
there
like a
is-
dick move. It seems like a dick move. I'm just going to put it out there. Like when
A
you're
little
in
bit.
the
So,
moment,
I mean, when
you're
you're
like, hey,
asking
I want you
someone-
to slap me, and then you get fucking corked across the face,
when-
and you're like,
when you
I'm
were
calling the
asking,
cops.
like, I've got bruises on me that I've asked for.
Yeah.
You know,
I couldn't do it. I couldn't. Here's
couldn't
the
either.
disconnect.
No.
Here's the disconnect.
No
and
way.
then back to
Yeah.
the choking thing. If someone said, "I want you to choke me or hit me," I would be like this. You know what? Can we just take a knee here because I'm not real comfortable, just in case there's a bruise, and you go to the police, or you go to the
RT.
newspapers.
Hard
And stuff.
T.
And she's like, because it's happened where someone's like, "Hey,
It
choke me," and you're like,
takes trust.
you know what? Hang on. Can we just take a minute here? Let's have a glass of water. Let's talk about the merits of like where you stop and where you start. Like, I don't want you to piss yourself if I start choking you too much.
What if I just
like I definitely don't want to be choked because like I like breathing and I don't want to wonder where my next breath is coming from. So like it's just
What
to
if I
me
just
it's so. What's that?
What if I just overfeed you some saltine crackers? Will that suffice?
I'm not,
like,
not interested in that either. But do you know what I'm saying? Like I have this thing that's like I grew up. My dad, and this is where it came from. No word of a lie. When I was younger, I called my mother she, and I ended up across the room because my dad literally punched me in the head for being disrespectful. Her name's your mother. You call her mom or mother. That's what you call her. And I'm like, so like I've always been of the impression that like I'm very, very differential. So I don't know if I would be any different if I decided, hey, let's go to Club Oasis one night with JB and we'll go in there and we'll wear Miami Vice suits and we'll have a great time. You know what I mean? Like I would go into that place and I'd be like, hey guys, can I just watch? I'm a little skittish about the whole thing. Like I talk a big game and I love hearing these stories. I would be in the corner sucking my thumb. If someone said, "I want you to beat the shit out of me," I'd be like, "No chance. There's not."
I would pay the $100 entry fee for you to experience that.
Yeah,
like, hands down.
$100? Is there a buffet?
Depends who you ask. Depends who you ask.
I was a buffet table one night.
It's true. It's true.
Look at Loch. It's all about the sexual experience. He wants to know what value adds he might be able to get for his $100. Like, is there a sandwich involved? Possibly two beers. Is there a 2-beer minimum?
What's pierogies?
There's the pool, the sauna, the hot tub.
I
Let's
gotta
be
tell you,
serious. I'm not going in the pool
not
or the
doing
sauna.
any water sports at that club.
Again, that means something totally different.
I will say, as someone who has worked there, I went on the pool on my break. Like, it's kind of like if a fast food worker still eats at their establishment, it's safe.
Can you fuck in the pool?
chlorine
or is
budget?
it like, are you allowed to fuck in the pool? Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
It's just like massive buckets of chlorine. So.
Yeah.
Still a lot of cum. There's probably a ton of cum in that pool. There's just
It just floats.
It's not that big of a pool. Like
it's full of cum.
The filter's not picking a lot of that up either.
Which is funny because
and who doesn't swim with their mouth open? I mean, I'm like this all the time. I'd be swimming.
No.
I open my eyes.
I go in the pool. I don't put my head in the pool.
Yeah, I wouldn't put my head in the water.
I don't put my head in the water. But the pool is also surprisingly warm, by the way, in like the middle of February. It's got steam coming off it.
It's heated.
Yeah, it's heated. The hot tub's good too.
Body temperature? Same temperature as body fluids? It's same temperature around
roughly,
there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pool is usually warmer than the hot tub.
It's true.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's fascinating. Okay, so wow,
This is crazy.
I know. I'm learning so much.
Let's have an Oasis night.
Yeah,
all of us.
Let's do that.
Oh, sure.
I'm only going if there's a buffet. Like I want chicken wings or poutine or something.
You can order in food. You can order in food.
Can you pay to go in and watch? Are you allowed just to watch if you pay your $100? Yeah,
you have to pay to go in. You cannot even enter.
You have to pay to go in, and if you want to watch, you have to seek consent.
Yeah, you have to watch.
Yeah.
But what about the people that are just banging at the bar? Are you allowed to?
Well, you're basically throwing your if you're banging at the bar, you're basically saying that we want to be watched. We're okay with being watched.
Yeah.
But there is private rooms upstairs that you can go to if you wanted to have a more quiet or intimate approach with that partner, and that's where you would have to seek consent to watch at that point.
Yeah. And on the third floor. On the third floor, we call it the splash zone. You have to stand.
I bet you do.
There's literally red tape on the ground that you have to stand behind.
Yeah, and you have to politely get someone's attention to be like, "Do you mind if I use the furniture? Do you mind if I watch? Do you mind if I join? Do you mind if I, double click the devil's doorbell?"
Oh, that's a euphemism for female masturbation. I got that one right away. Yeah.
I was heard to flick the
devil's
beam.
doorbell.
There's also the porn room.
My first time ever in a sex club was for my interview there.
Really?
I walked in and I'm like, I want to work here.
Guess so, because you're into it. What did you say, JD? Before we said, go ahead.
There's a porn room where there's just porn playing.
Oh.
On a big TV and a couch.
So you can make your own casting couch.
You can.
Fun.
It's role playing.
Oh.
It's just a lot of sexual role playing, and then there's people out there that are free with themselves. You guys see? Do you see a lot of fights in the club? Do you see a lot of fights when you go to clubs where people swing? You see a lot of drama. Where
Not
someone's
the
like,
fights
hey,
you think. Not
I
the fights
told
think.
you could allow him in the front, but not the back. What are you doing? Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that stuff actually does happen. That does happen. I mean, some of the security footage there is great. There's the security guards there. They do take a lot of physical abuse from people. It can get on. Let's just say you invite a bunch of guys to a gangbang and there's only one woman that shows up and she's not interested in having a gangbang. You have a lot of angry, frustrated people.
Yeah.
In the club with alcohol. You do tend to get fights those nights. But with everything the way it is and just the actual atmosphere of the club, it's very few and far between when it actually does happen. But
Okay,
it's a
so
one.
we're skirting around the obvious question here, and we have for some time. Does the way people look matter to you? And here's why I'm asking. Is because obviously you're going to have a few losers walking in there just looking to get laid because they don't get laid, right? Like, do you,
And I
how
have
do
some
you
grooming
filter
issues.
guys who've never shaved? They just came out of the pandemic. They walk in there, looks like someone's hiding a button on a fur coat, that kind of stuff. Like, can you go, like, if someone comes up to you and is like, hey, I know, would you mind if I jumped in here? Would you mind if I just got right in here and give you a little high five? Do you have the ability as some, like, or is it like you got to take, like, is it one of those clubs where it's like, fuck, I'm supposed to take you on too, I guess.
Too polite.
Like, it, you know what I mean? No.
It's
Very,
all
very
about
Canadian.
consent. Yeah, it's very polite. Very people be like, "Do you want to play?" And you can say yes or no. And
Smart.
I felt safer there saying no than I have at a bar.
And that's actually a very
That's
good point. And I
big,
hear that from
yeah.
a lot of people. You know, let's think as a couple. And if you wanted to go out as you and your partner to go do something, if you want to go out to a concert, you're going to spend $100. If you want to go out to dinner, you could potentially spend $100. If you were going to do really anything, you would spend $100. So what's the difference in spending $100 and going to a nice pool, a nice hot tub, and just relax and then play after? Which
We
you're
haven't
going to
eaten
do
yet,
anyways.
though. That's what I'm
Well,
with
you can
Lochlin
order
here.
in
I
food.
want the
You can
damn
order
buffet.
food.
You
Just
can
don't
order
bring it to the shaggin' wagon.
Fascinating,
What's
isn't
the?
it?
So you worked there. You worked
So
there.
fascinating.
What was the? And I don't mean this jokingly. I know it's going to come across that way. But what's the cleaning process at the end of the day before the next day? Is
Cleaning
it?
is
Witness the
ongoing
cleaning
the
product.
entire time.
Is
Yeah,
it? So
it's
who-
very
Is-
clean.
It's very clean. We have, I still say we because it was relatively recently that I left there.
Mhm.
Staff called floaters. They are always coming around with something we call bioxy, which is it cleans up biohazardous materials.
Yeah.
We also
Now,
have
let's be serious. There's a lot of post-drip seepage.
Well, and
gonna happen.
there is, and it's funny because we have glow parties there. So we bring in glow artists and we turn on the black lights, and you'd be surprised by how little semen parties you see around the club because everything is being cleaned. And guests are even welcome to clean up after themselves. Cleaning stuff is provided. Yoga days suck though. Nobody clean. I have to clean up. I had to clean up those days.
Naked yoga that turns into an
Yeah,
orgy.
it is naked yoga actually. 3 days a week.
I've done that actually.
Yeah.
It's very awkward.
At Oasis?
No. I
On
did
your
it. Yeah, no, I did it for a bit for the radio show, and I don't have the balls for naked yoga. I just don't.
Oh, you have
Yeah,
you
I
have
always
them.
check
You have
the
too many
rating
of
bit.
them.
What's that?
When it
What's
comes
that,
to
Em?
radio, I just rate the bits.
At a girl.
It's me.
You've done some radio, have you?
I did some back end stuff again, pardon the pun, on the Scott Penfold show years ago for Y108.
Oh wow.
He
Never heard of
launched
him.
his metal station from the living room.
Oh, did he really? Wow.
Yeah, but
She's like a
I
Swiss
wrote
Army
some
knife.
of the Merv Whitaker stuff
Uh-huh.
for the Patio Factor machine. I helped with that. The skit about the peonies when he'd sniff his wife's peonies.
Okay.
They're flowers, I promise.
Yeah, no.
That was I wrote that one.
That's good.
So I did behind the scenes stuff for that.
You're a little bit of a writer. You got like all kinds of talent.
Then I smartened up and got out of there.
Yeah, the girl. Yeah, radio's a diminished industry. Only one of us is still in it, by the way, and it's because he's really good at it. That's the guy in the middle, Lochlin Cross. He's got a morning show called The Locker Room. They're so successful. The city of Edmonton is allowing them to have an illegal lawn darts tournament this weekend, by the way. Just so you know, they're the only people in the entire province, maybe country, that's allowed to promote an illegal lawn darts tournament.
This is our 4th year, and we have not had a head injury yet.
Not one.
Yay!
Yeah,
I love the yet. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna happen.
It's a good codicil.
My head injuries tend to happen in my neck. So
Yeah,
From intercourse,
we
I'm
covered
guessing.
that.
From intercourse. Yeah. Do you like the rough sex? Like, is that your preferred? And can you have no, like? This is a stupid question, JP. This is for you too. Are you like? Does normal sex? Is it like for pedestrians? Is it not interest you? Like normal lovemaking, where you and another person, you get deep into it, you hold them close, you have a little cuddle after, like that kind of weirdness. I'm not into it either. Like, I'm not into the BDSM. I'm also not into cuddling. I'm kind of in the middle, where you get in, high five, get out, everybody gets back to work.
It's all
You
about
good?
efficiency
You
with you.
good? Do I need to apologize here?
it's a lot of cuddling in BDSM, surprisingly. Believe it or not, but I'm terrified of lovemaking. I enjoy sex. I enjoy more vanilla sex, but like the slow, passionate, we're supposed to be connected. For me, sex is supposed to be fun, because it's just fun. If I can't laugh at the noises that happen during sex, then I don't want to get into bed with someone.
Oh yeah, that fart noising. That fart noise sometimes that you get
Yeah,
from
just
down
little,
there
like-
when you're you get
Skin on skin doesn't make good sounds typically.
No,
like
no.
it's
suction cup.
Wet spaghetti.
Like I'll only have power exchange sex with my dom, but I love rough sex. But I think with like more romantic partners, because they don't know where the line between BDSM and rough sex is, I tend to stick to vanilla. That's just what we call it. Vanilla is a flavor. It's not a good flavor. It's not a bad flavor. It's a flavor. Some people like vanilla. Some people like chocolate.
It's a base. Yeah, it's a base.
You can always add flavor to it.
you can swirl it too.
Yeah.
Tell us about that one.
No swirling.
No, but much to M's point, I'm kind of the same way with my dynamic. It's just I'm okay with vanilla sex if that's what the person wants and that's what the person is. Then we can do that vanilla sex. And kind of to Locke's point earlier, it's like everybody's rank of vanilla is different, right? What M calls vanilla is going to be different than what Locke calls vanilla, right? So
Yeah.
but I like to call myself a sponge sometimes with things where I'm open to sort of anything. What
God,
do
what
you
does that
like?
mean
What's
now?
going to make you feel good? Right? How can I make you feel good? It's partly a part of the like demisexual side where like I have to be attached to the person. I need to know what the person likes. And I'm going to have a more passionate experience when I know what this person likes and what this person needs. Right? So it's
Yeah.
I didn't hear-
Tinder matches are
no-
great, but
No offense, I didn't hear a word you just said.
that's fine.
See, I'm demi as well, which is also why it takes so long for the nip slip and all that fun stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
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 I heard that.
I require an emotional and intellectual connection with someone. I'll take that over a physical attraction. I mean, I prefer to have that physical attraction, but I mean, I really don't, it's gonna sound mean, my last partner is 240 pounds. Like my last monogamous relationship, 240 pounds, great person. They live in my basement willingly.
Thanks for
But
Steve, when she told me that, she just said this person lives in my basement. She didn't say the willingly part, and I was just like, yeah, probably.
Can you imagine having
What's he
like
paying for that?
Can you imagine having a smoke show polyamorous babe who's into BDSM
No
living upstairs,
shit.
being your landlord,
he
and just
couldn't
listening to
handle it, apparently. No, but it's that, so in terms of attraction and things like that, it's really about the mental and feeling safe, regardless of if it's poly, BDSM or a standard vanilla relationship, it really all comes down to who you feel safe with. And then attraction is a bonus, but it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, well, that's completely the opposite of me, which is fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we
well,
learned a
when it-
lot here.
When it comes
Like a
to like,
lot.
I'm pickier about my women. They're pretty. I like to look at them, and I want to make sure that they're fun to look at. Whereas
Agreed.
men, I find
We're gross.
No,
you
We're
know what,
so
women are-
fucking
women are-
disgusting.
Yep.
No, I don't understand
right.
why every woman doesn't just drop men
No.
completely for fucking ever.
Hello.
We got shit hanging out of
There's
ourselves. We
something-
smell weird. What's that?
there's some things that you just can't get out of a dildo.
That's true.
I'm telling you though, you're absolutely right. Women are like sports
Lots
cars.
of
We're like
clips
dump trucks.
out of
Men are
Yeah,
like
we
dump
are.
trucks. We have a purpose, but women are like sports cars. See,
Yeah, they can do it.
I got one in here. She's my sports
There you
car.
go.
So.
There you go. Listen, Em.
Don't
I'm gonna-
accidentally call Ashley the dump truck.
No,
Yeah.
she's not the dump truck. No.
I want to
Dumpster
thank you for.
store.
I want to thank you for being here, and I want to thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing your life with us and lifestyle. And I would love to have you back.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm super grateful that you're as open as you are about your life, and the fact that you share it
Fascinating.
with such fucking positivity. It's awesome to listen to you talk about it. And I have a laundry basket that is jammed.
You'll have to ask
Don't-
my dom permission.
Don't
If you
worry.
if you ask permission, I'm sure he'll let me fold it.
Oh,
Don't worry,
so-
Dean. I'm gonna be pursuing her
No.
to be joining us on our network to
Yep.
have her podcast with us, and she can do all of our laundry. It'll be great.
Yeah, that'd be.
All right, I'm so in. If that's the payment, I'm down.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Not
Thank
doing
you
your
so
laundry,
much,
Dean,
Em.
sorry.
Follow Em at Emmeline. No, I'm just joking around.
That was awesome, Em. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emmeline,
Thank you so much.
Emmeline97 on Instagram. Her Emmeline 1987. Pardon me. And your YouTube show is called Good Girl. It is a series that is coming to YouTube at youtube.com/Emmeline, EMMALENE. That's right. I got fucking nailed that one. And TikTok as well. Same thing. If I think it's Emmeline 1987, correct? Did I get that one right?
That's correct. And I have a backup channel that's more BDSM. It's Emmers 1987. Because I was.
I like
afraid to
that
use
channel.
me.
And an OnlyFans. It was. Did I hear that
I
earlier?
do have an OnlyFans. It's Submissive Blondie.
Okay.
Oh. All right.
Great
I
follow,
have
by the
no
way.
idea where I got the inspiration for that name. Came to
Doesn't
me.
matter. Doesn't matter.
Have an
Just
idea.
know this. We'll be creeping you for hours this evening.
Oh.
Thanks for doing this.
Well, thank you for having me.
Anytime. We'll talk to you soon, Em.
Thanks, Em.
Definitely. Thank
There
you
you
so
go.
much.
Thank you.
Anytime. There's
Bye, friend.
Em. That was fun. She is so fun.
She's
JP.
great,
You
eh?
got great friends.
I know. I
You
have good
too,
friends.
Linz. You got great friends. She's your friend too. She's a
Yeah.
community
I went
friend.
camping this
Great
weekend.
lady.
Yeah.
Mine
Now
got
you know
rained
why,
out. I
like-
did this instead.
Now you know
What's
why
that?
we started talking, and like when I got there and I saw her and we sat down beside each other and we started talking. We talked for like I think 2 hours before we just went on our ways. But yeah, she's great. I love them.
You're gonna hit that,
Yeah.
aren't you?
I cannot confirm or deny what
Yep.
may happen in the future, but we're hanging out soon and
Yep.
we'll go from there. So
Yeah, you're gonna hit
Full report.
a full report.
that. Locke, your thoughts?
Again, I mean,
Because you were all game to talk to her, and I think she took your breath away. Like you sat back and listened. It was almost like it was so much information. You sat back, and I know when you're
Well, you know
turn
what?
sideways in your chair, and you're like, "This is I can't,
For
I
me-
don't even know if this is real." Because I've lived such a sheltered life over the past 35, 40 years.
Vanilla, like she said. Vanilla.
here's the thing I will say about meeting individuals like, and we're in an interesting industry. Like, this is an interesting job. This is an interesting life to live. I'm very lucky. And part of it is you meet a lot of these people, right? You meet people that have very different opinions. You meet politicians, you meet athletes, you meet people who, tour on the road that have cocaine problems. And I'm always fascinated by I'm fascinated by colorful people, Quite often, though, my disappointment revolves around the lack of self-awareness with people, right? That is not the case with Em. I don't know her well, but she is very self-aware, like willing to not just discuss this, but discuss possibly why she might be where she is, and why she sought this out, based on not just a kink, but her mental sort of approach to life.
Yeah, she
right?
put it all on Front Street, right? Like it was
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
So that's what was interesting to me about this conversation, because I will be honest, I was pretty much convinced that this type of lifestyle was, and I still think it is to a certain extent. And this is not me judging. This is me. It's that I like to have sex. So do these people. All right, let's fuck. That's what I thought this was.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's, because it's so far outside of the norm of what it is as accepted as a society. And I know Sheep King, I know JB has commented on the fact that there are, and again, I am the reason why I thought this was a good idea, Dean, is exactly what JB said. I think everyone would be absolutely shocked at how many people are a part of this community or involved in some aspect of this community, from swingers, like, because it's a wide scope. And I think a lot of it is, listen, that meet the girl, ask the girl to marry you, knock up the girl, buy a house, go into debt for the rest of your life, and miserable is just not the path that everybody wants to go. So they go, all right, well, what can I do? Well, I heard this guy, this friend of mine, he does this polyamorous thing and he fucks everything. Let's do that. Woo! Like, that's what I kind of thought that this was. So to have somebody like Em, as articulate as she was about the other stuff, is that's where she stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah.
No,
I agree.
It's still too much fucking work. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Listen, polyamory and BDSM and swinging and all the stuff that goes into that lifestyle, it is not an older man's game. I can tell you that right now, because like outside of the sex, all the cleaning and all the tech work and all the like the her it just seems like it's so much work, dude. Like JB, it just seems like coordinating, staying on top of your emotions, staying away from jealousy. And I asked you that question when we were off air. Yep. I asked her, and I'd love to ask you the same question. Like, you obviously have connections with these people, and when that person you have a connection with goes out and it's like, hey, I'm gonna go bang the neighbor tonight, and you're like, well, I thought we'd stay in and Netflix and chill. I thought maybe we'd watch, Nope. We'll stream Nope, that new Jordan Peele horror movie together. Then we'll get down and we'll put things in each other and get weird. And she's like, no. I got something tonight. Like that obviously is something you have to work on an ongoing basis. It's almost like it's almost as if you're putting yourself in a situation to suffer and to be jealous all the time. So is it training? Is that how you look at it? Like emotional training for you? Or is it just, one of the drawbacks of being in plural relationships or into polyamory and swinging and all that jazz?
Yeah. I mean, the jealousy, kind of to Em's point when she said it, goes away over time, right? Because you get more comfortable in the dynamic that you're in. And it sucks at first. It 100% exists. I've experienced it as I ventured into polyamory, because I was married, separated with my wife, and then we remained partners in this polyamorous lifestyle. So, that was tough, right? To go from monogamy to non-monogamy was a challenge. Yeah, there was times where she's like, yeah, I'm not coming home tonight. I'm like, oh, why? Right? Like, and then I start asking questions and you start showing that jealousy. But once you catch it and once you can hold it back, it's the most liberating thing on the planet, honestly, because you don't have to worry.
I disagree with Kathleen. I'm sorry. I disagree.
I think that's a great point.
I judge men just as harshly as I judge women in this world.
You do, not society though.
Yeah, society definitely does judge.
For me, it's not a question of gender in this. It's a question of, like, for me, in my mind, the way I view this, and again, it's not even judgment. It's just like, how can you put yourself through this? It's not a female versus male thing. Like, how could you possibly consider this a good idea with how much work it must be to communicate everything that needs to be communicated? Like, that's my thing on this. This has nothing to do with men versus women.
No,
and I'm sure that's out there, Ryan. You know what? And maybe societally, but I think we're getting to a point now where everyone's in the same fucking canoe, and there's a lot more people like me out there now where it's not. You know what, dude? If she does that, it means nothing. She can still be. She's just decided to do this, and if a guy decided to do the same thing, I would be just as equally confused by that man's decision as her decision as well.
I think Kathleen's point though was more to the point of for us, if it's guys, how many people you bed is notches in a bedpost, whereas for girls, the more she fucks, the more she's a whore.
Yeah.
And I think that's where she's going with that. And so in situations like this where it's a consensual, agreed upon society, anybody from a traditional and conventional value that's viewing from the outside in is going to see it and go, oh, she's just a whore, and not care about the guys that are involved. Nobody looks at the guys that are involved.
I'm completely the opposite. You know that, and I'm not even saying it for brownie points. I look at the women that are able to do this, and I go, "You're fucking awesome." And I look at guys that do this, and I
agree. I agree with both of your points, but I'm saying from an outsider view, like an outside societal view, I think you're absolutely. I think we're on the right page. Remember the beta thing we talked about earlier? That's where we're at. But nobody's. you can't walk and say this is generally the agreed upon I can't even think of the word, how society looks at how sexual relationships are supposed to happen.
Societal
between
sexual norms.
Thank you.
Well, that's
the one.
That's why this is called GSRM, gender, sexuality, relationship, minorities, right? Because it is not the norm, right?
But you see, I've never heard that term before, JB. So you're like,
Sure.
You see, a lot of people.
JB's cutting edge, dude.
Well, and I get that, but we all need to catch up to stuff like that, where all these acronyms come in and nobody knows what the fuck they mean.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody makes fun of the acronyms. No. I love the acronyms, because just tell me what you want me to call you. Tell me who you are.
Yes,
tell me about your lifestyle. Tell me how it works. Because we've literally, for like thousands of years, been told marriage and sex with one man, one woman, that's the key to life.
Yeah.
Nothing else matters. You got to get married in a church. You got to have you betrothed to this person. You got to give them your life. Listen, I've been married once. Never, ever, ever will I get married again, because I remember standing there in front of this person knowing, and I said this to the person when I got married, I'm like, listen, I give this 10 years. And to the day, almost 10 years, because it's such a confining institution and it's such absolute total fucking bullshit. I can't go the rest of the way like JB and all these other lovely people have, but I can say this is that it makes more sense to me the more I listen to it, because it's like, hey, there's no commitment. You do whatever you want. It's just all the relationship stuff. And outside traditional relationships, sorry, Ryan, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
outside traditional relationships, there's a lot of fucking sexual exploration to be done, and a lot of learning to be done for people too. That the way that anybody else lives, whether it's JB or M or anybody else, or Loch with his massive balls, and how he does naked yoga and stuff like that. Like, this is just how we express ourselves and what we like and what we do. And I would put it to you that the weird people are the people that are trapped in relationships for 70 years, doing it missionary style every day for the rest of their fucking lives, just to get it over with, just to service the relationship. That's my point.
This is my question though, and I think I know the answer to it, and I'm going to ask Lochlin, because I think it's going to be very similar to mine. Lochlin, if your wife came home tomorrow and said, I want to go fuck other people, how would you feel about it?
I wouldn't be able to do it.
Me neither.
I could not wrap my head around it. And and you know what? Again, I see that being something that somebody would be judgmental of.
And this is why I don't want people to think that we're a bunch of prudes or a bunch of fucking people that live in the olden days. Yeah. I'm married. I'm happily married. My wife is happily married, she tells me, I think.
She's lying.
Same with Lochlin. Lochlin's wife lies to him every
I
day
know
too.
she's lying. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I agree. But
She
this
yelled
is
at
what
me
we
about
do.
how much she hates him for 4 hours one night when we got together. There's no way.
Well, there was a little more than that.
I just don't want. Yes, we should be open to the idea of this sort of lifestyle, but we also shouldn't. Now all of a sudden, that's the cool thing, and that's the only thing we should look at, and all the rest of us are a bunch of fucking dinosaurs because we love our one spouse.
But we do need to get to a point where, and again, fuck, I've said this before, and I actually annoy people because I've said this. 1, you got to figure out who you are. 2, you got to learn to be comfortable who that person is, and 3. This is the most important thing. This will solve every fucking problem on the planet. And if we can figure this out, which I am not very good at, but I work on every day, we got to stop giving a fucking flying fuck about what other people are doing.
Everybody else is doing. Absolutely.
And that,
you know who said that?
Is the 3-pronged plan. I've said it. I've been saying this for years. This is the 3-pronged plan to solving every fucking problem on the planet. But that process in my mind, and because I'm still working on who I am, and I'm still working on trying to be comfortable with who I am, and I work, and I'm good at 1, I'm okay at 2, I'm getting better at 3, but I'm not good at 3. And when I'm judging, I try to catch myself. So when I'm in a situation where I'm having a conversation like this, where I can't wrap my head around it, I constantly do listen, this is how they've chosen to live their life. It's not up to you. It might not work for you. This is them. And they are comfortable with this. Then let it go, Loch. You can't. But I have moments where I'm like, oh, Jesus, Sheep King, you're just doing this because you want to get your dick sucked more often. That's not up to me.
Yeah, then I charge people $5 to see it.
There's no place for the state in the bedroom of the nation. What's done between private adults doesn't concern the criminal code. You know who said that?
Me.
Pierre Trudeau. Do you know when he said that?
He was down there.
1967.
Yeah.
Okay? So you can hate on the Trudeaus all you want. They've been yelling this for fucking decades.
Yeah.
And it's true. So
Well,
I totally agree. It's just do your own thing. What makes you happy, be happy.
Yeah, just quickly too. The evidence of polyamory and the evidence of non-monogamy exists long before religion. Society has shown that this is a thing that has existed for a long, long time. The thing that brought, monogamy into the norm is religion, right? It's talking about the man and the woman and being together. But, the olden, our ancestors back before the Bible and before Christianity, they liked each other.
Everybody
liked each other. Everybody liked each other.
They be fucking.
They
oh
be
yeah,
fucking.
men, women,
Yeah.
men, FFF,
like
MMM.
Greek bathhouses are a thing.
All the
Like
letters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just everybody.
Orgies
get in
were
there,
always a thing.
fill your
Yeah.
boots. Yeah, exactly. JB, appreciate you being here. Are you on tonight? You got a show tonight?
Nope, not tonight. I'm taking.
Okay.
I'm gonna relax for the night.
Okay, yeah, you get your cannabis drink. Follow JB at Sheep King JB across all socials. Huge on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch as well. He's got a cool Twitch channel. Please go and subscribe. He is a wonderful follower and a great human being and a fucking ton of fun. Thanks for doing this, brother. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
We'll see you,
Jake.
brother.
We'll talk to you
That
soon.
was refreshing.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, that was nice, wasn't it? From a very deep sexual conversation to a man I love having deep sexual conversations with. Please welcome Ray Rout.
I have
ladies
deep
and
sexual
gentlemen.
feelings for Ray Rout.
Thank you,
Read his
fellas.
blogs. It moves
Thank
a
you,
little
fellas.
bit. I'll admit it.
That's what I'm there for. Make things
Yeah.
shift in people's pants. We're
You
good.
move us sexually, right?
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
How's it going?
Good. Nice to see you. You're here for a couple reasons. One, Ray Rout, by the way, Who's Got Next is a fucking great podcast. Where can people get it? First of all, you've revamped your podcast. You're out of the making fun of the Patriots. You've moved away from like trolling Patriot fans, Bill Belichick, and everybody associated with that organization. And you moved into your new podcast called Who's Got Next, which you can get at deanblundell.com. You can get it at your YouTube channel as well. Tell us a little bit about it, and then I want to get to some Deshaun Watson stuff with you because that story is fucked.
Yeah. So Who's Got Next is basically 4 guys who talked about football across different platforms who we all kind of got sick of talking about football and just want to be a couple of guys that hang out and talk shit. And on a whim, we said, you want to do this? And it was one of those things where we had an idea in our head and it worked out exactly like we wanted it to work out. And I mean, we talk about everything. We talk sports. We talk a little bit of politics. We had some sexual conversations about shoving fingers up your ass. It's just, we get into fucking everything. It's four guys who like to have fun who are pretty
Sounds
funny
like
cats,
this show.
I think. So, I think people enjoy it. It's not just us going, oh, you got to go for it on third down because there's a 38% chance that you can pick it up. It's more just a lot of shit talking. We got an episode coming out tomorrow, live at 7 p.m. We are going to talk about Bill Russell, obviously the passing of Bill Russell, one of the GOATs of all time, not just as a basketball player, but a human being. Yeah. We're going to talk about how people don't have accountability today. We're going to make fun of Patrick Mahomes a little bit. And I got a bone to pick with a couple of the guys from something in the group chat, but I'll keep that quiet. And in my session where we now call Ray's Disappointed in You. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time.
Is that what we need to do now?
Time for Lochlin's Disappointed in You, and here's why.
Yes.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. So Ray is the other thing that I think people should know is Ray's come along to become the new director of sports here at DeanBlundell.com. So let's just give him a round of applause.
That's my
sports
guy.
Sports betting.
That's my guy.
It's when you need a guy, you go get a guy, and Ray is the guy. He's not only fucking super plugged in, not only is doing an unbelievable job of his own content, the relationships he has in the sports marketing, sports betting world, bloggers, podcasters. So we've got lots of news that we don't want to talk about just yet, but I just wanted to officially welcome you aboard as the head of sports. If anybody's got a sports related question, if you want to blog, if you've got a podcast, don't send it to me. Whatever you do, don't send it to me. It all goes to Ray now because he doesn't have enough to do between his 6 other jobs, by the way. So we brought him on to do that at DPN_Ray is where you can follow him on Twitter as well. But I want to get to the Deshaun Watson stuff because it's fucking gross. And you wrote a great piece on it. You covered it in your podcast, Who's Got Next? The NFL has 3 days to decide whether they condone or condemn sexual assault. Now, the ruling came out, I think, a couple of days ago. Was it yesterday? The day before? Yesterday. 6 games.
6 games.
Suspended 6 games to start the season. He has settled 23 out of 24 sexual assault lawsuits. 25, sorry. Jesus. 23 out of 25. Is that correct? So he's got
23 to 25. Yep.
2 pending.
2 won't settle with him. 2 want to go to court.
2 want to go to court. And there are a total of 30 people that have made complaints against him. First of all, let's get to what his MO was. What was he doing? Because you know more about this than most. This is like it's predatory, if you will. But I'd like to know kind of what the fuck was up with Deshaun Watson. What was he doing to these women, and how did he procure this? Like, how did he manage to do all this?
Yeah. So let's talk first of all. If you're a professional athlete and you're at the level of Deshaun Watson, if you're in need of masseuse and legitimate massages and therapy for your body, the organization will accommodate all that, schedule that, all that. And it normally happens at the facility, right? That's just where you get your treatment. Deshaun Watson was going onto Instagram and booking private massages with legitimate masseuses. So he wasn't out, strolling for rub and tugs or anything. He wasn't Robert Crafting it, where, he was going somewhere and everybody involved knew what was happening. He was showing up to hotels and I think at his private residence as well. And while doing the massage, he would pull out his junk. He would kind of move his the hands and the heads of the masseuses there. He's a big, powerful athlete. And I've seen a lot of people who defend Deshaun Watson, who they're just pieces of shit as far as I'm concerned. But what they're saying is, well, the girls were willingly doing it. He didn't really force anything. But what a lot of them brought up is in that situation when suddenly a big, powerful guy is moving your head towards his dick. I'm sure they probably said it a lot nicer than that, but moving their head towards his dick, it's just a lot of them were freezing, blacking out and bullshit. And he was taking advantage of his power, his status, and basically just being a scum piece of shit to the earth.
That's what he was doing. Yep. He was like, he'd lay down and then he'd get a bone and then he'd grab the woman by the masseuse by the head and then push their head down towards his crotch. Is that correct?
Yep. And basically keep it there until it happened. And so my thing was like, I think what bothered me even more about this is like these weren't girls who were known for doing this, right? Like this wasn't one of those. It wasn't prearranged. Hey, come over, massage me, jerk me off, whatever. Like these girls thought that they were showing up to do legitimate massage therapy. So this is where the whole big problem comes. He had them sign non-disclosure agreements before they gave massages, and I mean he went to the full extent of covering this up. And it's now come to light that the Houston Texans were helping him as well. They're the ones who gave him the non-disclosure agreements and were actually helping him book the hotels. Now they claim they didn't know what was happening, but it's very, very, very fishy to me of how it goes down. So that's the gist of what happened. And then, so the lawsuits came, as we all know. When it first came out, I like to take the stance of I need to see things play out because I've jumped the gun on situations like this before. Tyreek Hill being a prime example. I buried him and then, I was wrong. And I don't really like eating shit. So I just kind of waited. And then as more and more came out, I realized, okay, this guy's scum. And I had other words to say about him. So anyways, it's been investigated by the NFL and it got put to an independent arbitrator. I had a feeling it was going to be a light sentence because the NFLPA put out a statement on Saturday saying that they will respect whatever the decision is by the arbitrator and they will not appeal it. And they hope that the NFL will do the same thing. And that kind of told me that they might have got some insight and they knew it was going to be an easy suspension as far as I'm concerned. So the independent arbitrator gave him 6 games. And I did cover this yesterday, and I think I have it up on the website as well. And I'm going to go off the top of my head here. But just for context, Calvin Ridley of the Atlanta Falcons, while he was injured, made a $1,500 bet that the Atlanta Falcons were going to win a football game last season, and he is suspended indefinitely for the season. Josh Gordon has missed 25 plus games for testing positive for marijuana. Another player, DeAndre Hopkins, got 6 games for PED use. Tom Brady got 4 games for allegedly playing with footballs that were partially deflated. And Deshaun Watson has now gotten 6 games for over 25 confirmed accusations of sexual misconduct for Deshaun Watson.
So when I saw the 6-game suspension, Ray Rout joins us, by the way, at DPN_Ray on Twitter is where you can find him from the Who's Got Next podcast, our sports director here at DeanBlundell.com, soon to be evolving into something else. Can't say. Shh. But my understanding was that this 6-game suspension from the independent arbitrator was literally they just ported the most extreme suspension they'd given for someone that had committed sexual misconduct and just said, well, we did that a whole bunch of times. It's 6 games. So we're going to do that to this person and they're going to get 6 games, even though he literally destroyed the lives probably of 25 women, maybe 30, maybe more. I mean, we don't know what women haven't come forward. Right. And
yes.
Like you, when this whole thing started, and these women started to come out. Remember, it was like 5, then it was 10, then it was 12, then it was like 20, and then it was like 25, and then 30. You're like, come fucking on. Like,
it was Bill Cosby.
This has got to be it's Bill Cosby-esque. This guy's a repeated predator of women that used his power and influence to force women that were giving a massage to give him a blowjob. Right?
Yes.
That's what we're talking about here. I mean, just speak plainly. And all of the women, almost every single one, said we didn't want to do it, and they all got together and sued him. He's paying them off. The Browns give him $250 million, and the NFL sits him for 6 fucking games.
Well, now, so this is the big thing now, and now I'm putting it in the NFL's court because the NFL has 3 days from yesterday to appeal this suspension. And then it would go to Roger Goodell. Hence why it was the NFL has 3 days to either condemn or condone sexual assault to women. So I'm the guy who came out 2 weeks ago and called out Hockey Canada, right? Fully knowing the backlash that would come to me. And I can't not call out the NFL. I haven't called out the NFL specifically yet because they have 2 days to make this right, because Roger Goodell can now step in and give a stiffer sentence. I made a proclamation, I want to say in April, and said that if Deshaun Watson doesn't miss the entire season, I won't cover the NFL anymore and prop it up and give them the free advertising that they expect from people like me. And because I really thought it was going to be a full year suspension. I'm going to keep faith momentarily that Goodell is going to do the right thing. However, if it stays at 6 games, and by the way, fuck the Cleveland Browns too, who worked his contract, so he's only going to lose $333,000 from this 6-game suspension because his signing bonus does not count as a part of the suspension, and his entire contract in his first year is all signing bonus. It's very John Tavares-esque of how his base salary, I think, is $1 million for the year. I saw a stat today that said Deshaun Watson is being suspended for 0.2 games for every woman that he assaulted. So I'm going to put it in Goodell. If it goes to Goodell's hand, he has to do the right thing. And when you look at the precedents of this in the past, Ben Roethlisberger was accused of sexual assault, was acquitted for his crime, and served a 6-game suspension. Dak Prescott was accused of sexual touch. It was proven that he didn't do it, so he's actually innocent, but because he put himself in that situation, the NFL gave him a 6-game suspension. We now have 30 cases here. Since the Ray Rice incident, I thought that the NFL would learn from their mistakes, and now I'm really, really curious, interested, and kind of nervous to see what they're going to do. But what makes me super nervous is that, I'm not sure if you guys saw this, the Miami Dolphins were under investigation for tampering, and their punishment came out today, and it's huge. And the owner is suspended until October. They've lost a 1st and a 3rd round draft pick. And I think the NFL timed this perfect to take the attention off of Deshaun, because everybody's talking about Miami today, and that makes me nervous that the NFL is hoping that this is just going to go away.
Fucking wild, man.
Fucking nuts, man. This is crazy. Like, they can't, and I know this isn't an answerable question, but can they seriously look at what's happened in, like, with Hockey Canada and really just go ahead with something like this, with how hot that story is when it comes to, like, publicity and press? Like, there's no way they're not watching
Hockey
that.
Canada.
I think the difference is with Hockey Canada. The reason that Hockey Canada, the story is even big, is because all the sponsors started pulling out, right? And that became a problem.
Can't NFL be doing the same thing? Like, what? Like, are we not? Is there no pressure on the sponsors at this point for?
Well,
for...
And shouldn't there be pressure on the Browns? I mean, they were the ones that pulled the trigger on that deal. The Browns should be under the microscope. And it was funny because I was watching a video of Deshaun Watson walking through a lineup of Browns fans, and everybody's lined up, and he's signing autographs, and he looks like he doesn't have a care in the world. And I'm like, you guys, you fucking pulled the perfect prank on these poor women, right? Like they worked his salary so he would lose the minimum amount of money. Because they knew it was coming, so they enabled him that way. They traded for him and legitimized him, even in the middle of the heat of all these fucking lawsuits that he was trying to settle. So there's that part of it. But, like, what's the temperature like in Cleveland? Like, are there, because there you only see 2 different responses to this from Browns fans, right, or Cleveland fans. You see he's going to help us win a championship, so shut the fuck up, nothing matters other than that. Or you see, I will never watch another fucking Browns game again. Which is louder right now?
He's going to win us a championship. When it first came out, Cleveland when the trade first happened, I apologize because they were in the thick of this. There was a lot of outspoken Cleveland fans, and we heard that story of hundreds of thousands of dollars being donated to local women's shelters in Cleveland. But that's all come out. No, that money was coming from outside of Cleveland. That was other people doing it. To answer Ryan's question, I think the problem with the NFL is the NFL is the NFL is a beast all on its own. Outside of soccer, it's the most watched sport and most watched league in the world. The NHL and hockey is not. You're talking $1 million corporations to $1 billion corporations.
Mhm.
And I think at the end of the day, the NFL is one of the best escapes in the world, where players like Aaron Hernandez existed. And I never missed a Patriots game. That's somebody who took somebody else's life. Ray Rice existed. It goes down the line. I mean, we made a joke out of Antonio Brown, but I think actually Dean is the perfect example. Dean has been the poster child of going after the anti-vaxxers, especially the vocal anti-vaxxers. And I remember asking him if he had a problem cheering for Cole Beasley, and he was like, no. Because when it comes to the NFL, when it comes to football, when it comes to something that really is limited, you got to remember there's only 17 Buffalo Bills games a year plus a playoff. It's not like hockey where you're getting whatever 3,000 games, whatever they play a year, or 5,000 in baseball. You get 17 games a year. It's one or 2 days a week. But, you know, I know they got Thursdays and Mondays, but Sunday is really the day. So people kind of look past all the transgressions of the league because that's their day.
But to be fair, dude, just sorry, I want to go to Loch real quick too, but to be fair, I'm not penalizing the team for Cole Beasley not getting a vaccine. You know,
no, I get that. I get that.
And to that extent, we're talking about apples and oranges here, right? But I understand the correlation, and the correlation is if a player does something stupid or acts a fool, you know, are you going to still support the team? This goes so much further beyond the post; it's unbelievable. Like,
yeah,
you know
nuts.
What I'm saying. Sorry, Linz, I didn't mean to interrupt you, and I wanted to go to Loch because he had a question and he's been waiting patiently. My bad.
To me, this is disgusting. It's so revolting to me, and what makes it's already revolting. What makes it even more egregious is when you start taking a look at how the league has handled other situations, and Ray alluded to it, right? Like he alluded to a couple of the suspensions for other things, like God forbid you smoke a joint or you kneel during the anthem. Fuck, kiss your career goodbye. But 25, 30 women, you know, we'll let you get away with that. And you know what, Ray, I have to give you some credit here because I sent a note to my boss saying, I am so disgusted by this Deshaun Watson thing. Like, I am so bothered by it that I want to actually not talk about or do anything NFL related on my show for the rest of the year, like that's for the whole season.
That's fair.
And so to hear somebody else that has already had that thought process, and I know I didn't hear you say it, you didn't hear me say it. Yeah. So I just want to give you some credit for that because I legitimately sent that this morning after I did the news for the, you know, at 6 o'clock. I'm like, this is just gross. It just makes my skin crawl. They enable these fucking assholes. And you have a chance to send a message to the rest of the league and the rest of the world. You have a chance to actually stand up and go, we're not going to put up with this. We have these athletes that think that they own the fucking planet and they can get away with anything. So we're going to send a really strong message. We're going to make this hurt. No, 6 games. They give them a slap on the wrist. It is so embarrassing. And the fact that they think they can get away with it makes them even more disgusting. Like the fact that they think that they can just throw this out there into the ether and go, it'll go away. We'll still have record attendance at the games.
It will go away. Sorry, Ryan, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it just seems like an organization that has been so blinded by its own success, they don't see how times have caught up with assholes like this, and where consequences are finally coming to fruition for women that have been totally fucked over by these narcissistic pieces of shit. Like, the NFL just seems to be like, if, like you say, if Goodell, and I don't want to put the cart before the horse. If he does come out and strongly does something about it, great. But that arbitrator is a fucking idiot. An absolute fucking idiot playing into it.
I think the arbitrator, who was a woman, by the way, I need to put that out. I think the arbitrator, though, I think Dean kind of nailed it. It was, they looked at past, again, she needs to follow the sort of the law of the league. right? And it's all about precedence. And they looked at everything that's happened in the past around abuse of women, sexualization of women. There's never been more than 6 games. I mean, Ray Rice got 2 games for cold clocking his wife in an elevator before
until the video came
until
out.
the video went public.
Yeah.
And the NFL can pretend they didn't watch that all they want. The NFL can get their hands on me taking a piss if they really wanted to. That, you know, they've got a lot of power.
Hey, dude, when they do, let me know. I'll post.
We're already looking for it, just so you know.
Ray, can I just step in quickly? The conversation about the arbitrator and the woman and all that was all just premeditated in my opinion. This is one of the most powerful organizations in the world.
Yeah.
If they want this guy not to play football,
bingo,
they can make that happen.
Well, Colin Kaepernick hasn't played football since he took a protest.
If they wanted that to happen, it would have happened. They thought that they could get away with it and put an exciting player on the field.
Yeah,
that's what they were thinking.
They knew calling a guy like Colin Kaepernick would resonate with their fan base. Pulling a guy like Deshaun Watson will not, and that's why they're fucking hesitating on it. And
can we also talk about how fucking stupid professional athletes are? This is only the 1,000th guy who's chosen to go look for some action on Instagram. Like just as a like a fucking, it's 101 for me, is that you don't slide into girls' Instagram accounts when you're a multi-millionaire professional athlete or someone with some kind of public persona, and then you don't invite them over, make them sign NDAs, and then force them to give you a blowjob. You like to do that to people who you have no connection to. First of all, to do that, you have to be a complete fucking sexual degenerate, number one. But take that out of it if you can. To go looking for it on Instagram when you're a celebrity with everything to lose, like fucking absolutely everything. And I've seen so many people do it. Like, you remember, it was like a year ago, the dude from Barstool, what's his name? Portnoy. He got into trouble for doing the same thing, you know, bringing chicks over that he was sliding into his DMs. He's sliding into their DMs. And I had the same critique. It's like, if you have shit to lose and you're doing that to get laid, you're a fucking stupid idiot.
You're an idiot.
That's all you are. You're just like, you're so dumb that you deserve every bad thing that's coming to you because you chose to do this, because you lose all control, which he deserved to do in the beginning.
Or imagine this. They are doing it because they know they can get away with it, and the league is actually, and the team is actually putting them in a position where it feels like he's allowed to do it.
Yeah, it gives them comfort.
Which makes it even more egregious that the team 100%. Got away with no suspension, no penalties. That's the thing that bothers me the most about this. You put these players in a situation where they think they can get away with it based on the support that they have from the organization. That's the thing that needs to change, right?
But I think
we saw it happen in Hollywood.
I think one of the biggest differences, though, in Hollywood, for one part took a little bit of a stance, but here's the thing about the NFL. I mean, I'm not the only person coming out here being outspoken about it. There are current NFL players who are being outspoken about the whole Deshaun Watson situation. Fans are going ballistic. It's the only league in the world where they don't care, because at the end of the day, we're all still going to watch. Right, like that, and that's a lot of power. When you can you can be as mad as you want. If you're a diehard football fan, and there's a lot more diehards than there are casuals, they're going to watch the games, right? It's just
they're going to buy the jerseys.
They're going to buy the jerseys.
Buy the pay-per-view.
Everything they need. Right. And it's just the culture of it is so much bigger. It's the same way in Canada with hockey. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's not many people that hockey can do anything that's going to make them not watch the game. It's still a part of the game. They're going to boo Deshaun Watson when he comes back. He's going to go to every other stadium. He's going to get booed everywhere he goes. And then he's going to make a couple of statements in a year or so. They're going to say, "Oh, he's a good guy. He turned around. He's forgiven." Michael Vick with the dog fighting. I mean, people know how I am with animals. Like that to me, it's the biggest. He's one of the biggest pieces of shits to ever live. That guy was instantly forgiven after his return to Philadelphia. And even myself, I've never forgiven him as a person, but I constantly speak about him in a positive tone, because he constantly gets brought up when we talk about who's the most dynamic quarterback to ever play the game. It was Michael Vick. He revolutionized. Without Michael Vick, there'd be no Cam Newton or Josh Allen. Right. So it was, you have to acknowledge him in that standpoint. That's how powerful this organization is. We can't talk about, or this league is, we can't talk about Josh Allen today without bringing up a piece of shit like Michael Vick. Right. And
good point.
Within a year, Deshaun Watson, this will all be forgotten and somebody else would have done something, and it's going to be a repeat of it all. And I think why I came stronger at Hockey Canada than I did at the NFL is because I feel like if fans revolted against hockey, that's a bigger impact, right? I think
Up here.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that hockey would make tangible change, because if the NHL started seeing a dip in ratings in Canada, if they started seeing a dip in ratings in the smattering of states that they get ratings, they would have to make tangible changes. Don't forget, nobody bets on any other sport like they bet on the NFL, right? And there was a thing that came out a few years ago. The NFL is the only professional sports franchise in the world that can play in front of empty stadiums and still turn a profit at the end of the year. Their gate means nothing to them. Their money comes from TV revenue, from their TV deals, from merch sales, and all that type of stuff. They're not a gate-driven league. Mm-hmm. So when you have that type of power and you're going to draw in those type of people, and on a Sunday afternoon, you're bored, even if you're not a football fan, someone flicks the NFL on just because it's something to put on TV. And football fans have been very outspoken about the NFL. I mean, like, I'm waiting for the OPP to show up and tell me to stop, tagging Roger Goodell in tweets, because apparently you can do that now, right? And I'm waiting for that moment to happen to me, because I'm tweeting at that guy and the NFL all the time, and they don't give a shit because they got so much power.
Mm-hmm. Well, you nailed it. You just nailed it. You just actually told us what the crux of the issue is. They don't care. They're gonna make money if you show up or not. They don't even need people in the building. And this is a league with a Super Bowl where tickets are how much? How much do people pay for Super Bowl tickets?
Oh, like, if you're paying like
between 15 to 6 grand, 10 grand, some of them.
Yeah, you're paying 5 to 10 grand just to sit in the nosebleeds.
You're telling me they don't care about the tickets because it's a drop in the
Super
bucket.
Bowl's different. Super Bowl's different, right? Super Bowl's a different beast. And don't forget, a lot of those sales, those are aftermarket, right? Like that just
pays for the ads.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about,
they own a fucking day of the week, dude.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is a group that
they'll do whatever the fuck they want. They'll hide anything they want. They've been doing it for hundreds of years, or so however long the fucking NFL's been a thing. What, 60 years? 50 years, 60 years. I mean, the NHL is no different. When we're talking about the cover up of 2018 and the new fucking story about 2003, which is even worse. It's always been more important to these organizations to protect the institution and the people that run it than to advocate for victims. Always, never will it be any different.
Money in that.
And Canada and the NHL, peanuts, like not even fucking peanuts. Flaxseed, if you will, sesame seeds to the NFL and what it does. They own a fucking day of the week, boys. Like you don't have to be accountable to fucking anybody if you're the NFL. And when they do pretend that they're accountable, like you remember the George Floyd thing where all of a sudden Roger Goodell had a change of heart when it came to racism in the NFL and his job, and he came out and he apologized and all that other bullshit. It's like, oh my God, the only reason why they did that, in my opinion, because they wanted to continue to appeal to African Americans.
You got it.
Yes, but he also in the same breath put a rule in the rule book that you weren't allowed to kneel before the game. Either you had to stay in the dressing room or not kneel. And if you kneel during the game, your team would be penalized and that player would be fined for taking a knee during the anthem. So they
didn't mean it.
They struck both chords, right? They played to the African American community, but then they played to the rednecks that were booing the kneels, and they covered all their bases with that. Yep. And I also think too, the only reason he publicly did it was because the big boys came out. And this is something that does frustrate me about the NFL. is a lot of times when players are out speaking or being outspoken and talking about the NFL, it's what they call the Jags, right? Just a guy. When the racism issue came up and the kneel came up, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, the big boys stepped up and had something to say about it, and that shook them a little bit, right? Because that's going to get the attention of the public when the big boys are speaking. When Colin Kaepernick had a name, they just kind of they shooed him out of the league. You can't shoo Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady out of the NFL. No. So I think that the players need to speak up more. It's why I give a shit ton of kudos to the NBA players. Because they from LeBron James, who, let's face it, is the face of the NBA and down. When Fred VanVleet was like, "Fuck it, we're not playing," we're protesting, we're not playing. I mean, you've got to just applaud all of the NBA because they've taken control of their league as players. And I'm not saying that they're a perfect organization. There's shit that happens with players. Kobe Bryant and his cover up and all that kind of stuff on the rape accusations. I can't take that away, but they're a group that comes out all the way to Bill Russell, again, who we lost on the weekend, who's been one of the most outspoken people for social issues, humanitarian. And again, we're going to cover that pretty deep on our podcast tomorrow night because he was just an unbelievable individual. The NBA. So I give a lot of kudos to them because they were the first ones, with the hoods when that kid was killed by the community watch guy. The NFL, the big boys stay quiet a lot.
Mm-hmm. I think they're scared, and you want to look at it.
It's their paycheck. They're looking for their paycheck,
but I think need Bud Light to remove their advertising. That'll do the job, right? Like when someone like that comes along and they're like, "Hey, fuck you, we're pulling our money unless you sit Deshaun Watson for like a year." That's the only thing that'll change because you touch their money. Yeah.
Get rid of them. That's cancer to and I get it. It's not a demographic they're not worried about the demographic of women because that's who was victimized in this. It was a woman. The women aren't the ones that drive the revenue for NFL. So I understand that. From that aspect, I don't understand it from a fucking emotionally more than a 2-year-old. I understand. Yes. Can't have, gonna get rid of. But they don't give a shit because I can't see talking to a fan of the NFL moving forward that knows about this, knows the entire backstory of what we're talking about right now, and that just says, yeah, I could still totally fucking support that organization, totally, there's no reason for it, especially if they don't step up. I'm sorry.
But you know what? One of the bigger things too is out there, and it's the casual fan, and I'm gonna I'll be honest with you, being a part of this network, it pisses my wife off, just so you guys know, because I now know things that I never would have picked up on before because I'm one of those guys who don't pay attention to their surroundings. No, but you guys inform me about things and I get all fucking mad and start complaining about it. And she goes, you didn't I never watched the news before this show. I was a guy I didn't want to. The COVID was the time I watched the news the most to find out if I could go back to work or not. Right? That was the. I try to keep as much negativity out of my life. The reason I'm really on the Deshaun thing is because I cover football, so it's a part of it. But there's a lot of people out there. I tweeted something about it yesterday, and somebody responded to my tweet and said, "What happened?" So there's people out there that are oblivious to this right now.
I don't fault them at all at this point, right? I totally agree. You're right. The casual fucking I'm just a guy, the Jag thing, right? I'm just a fan. I watch every once in a while. I totally agree with that. But I mean, if you know somebody that is deep into this, like you are, like you just said, you're literally having a fucking existential crisis about covering this shit anymore because of the fact that how could you? As a man, you have a wife, you have kids, you have a daughter, don't you? How could that's what I'm saying. How could you this has me, and you know what? I swear to God, if they don't do the right thing, this is gonna be a game changer. And I hope for a lot of people, and I hope a lot of people hear that kind of a message and go, you're gonna have a big name because it's gonna come. Because there's no way this doesn't boil over. Money or no money. There's no way you can attach yourself to this brand that it pretty much endorses this kind of a behavior if they allow it to keep continuing to go on. It's an endorsement of that behavior.
You know what
we don't care
Yeah.
You pay our checks. We're fine.
It's a
Guys,
flare.
everything's fine.
It's a flare to every player in the league. It's like, go ahead and get it. Get it on IG.
That's
You
it.
get 6 games. Big
Because
deal.
at
You
the end
made
of the
like
day,
80 million.
the business is huge, right?
It's
And I mean,
gross.
and I can't be, and listen, I get torn a lot between this stuff because, and I mean, I've said this on this show before. I understand that I cover a league that has a lot of shitty people in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it
you
also has
have.
guys. It also has guys like Eli Manning. You know what I mean? So I try to balance myself, but I also turn around and think I wouldn't be with you guys right now. You guys would have no fucking idea who Ray Rel was if it wasn't for the NFL, right? Because
That's true.
odds are I wouldn't have started a YouTube channel
Yep.
to talk about fucking tiddlywinks, right? It's I was a
Although
football
not a
fan.
horrible idea.
Yeah, just so you know, one of
I
the
would
biggest
totally watch
podcasts
that.
that we're negotiating with is one just about pens, fountain pens. Actually,
I'd
I'm not
watch
even
it.
lying. It's
Phenomenal.
300,000 subscribers for pens. So if you did one for Tiddlywinks, I'd be all into it because that's
Yeah,
kind of niche
like
content
Craft's
we like.
Can I be
Journals.
honest with you? I don't even know what
Craft journals are
I don't
huge.
even know what twiddlywinks are.
That's
I
where
just always say
they're
that.
like little dimes you flick at these things, and you got to get them to land. It's like marbles for idiots. Locke, you wanted to say something real quick.
One more thing, Ray.
Marbles.
It is.
I can give you an idea of the difference between the NFL and handling a crisis, and then then Hockey Canada or the NHL. Just
Okay.
roll tape of Tom Rennie talking about what he's going through and the look of complete terror on his face, and then roll tape of Roger Goodell talking about any crisis that they've ever had.
Yeah.
Just look,
That's
look
true.
at their
Tom Rennie's
demeanor.
face. Did you see Tom Rennie's face last week when they're like, "What do you make of this?" He's like, "I wasn't around for most of it.
We knew, but we didn't know. Yeah.
It's terrible. I wasn't around for most of it. I just said, I'm leaving in July. I'm leaving in July." That's what he's like.
Gonna go.
I'm leaving. I'm out. It's like
Sorry,
fucking
I gotta
Skywalker.
take this.
Fear
Excuse
on
me.
the faces of the people in Hockey Canada.
Yeah.
Sum it up. Whereas Roger Goodell is like, "Hey, when's this done so I can go smoke a cigar and drink another bottle of $500 scotch?"
Yeah,
I
basically.
wanna know-
I mean, you can just see it on his face. He doesn't give two fucks what anybody
Nope.
thinks. No one.
No, but it's
I want to know how Ray feels about having to pivot to the CFL. Is that gonna
Well, I
be
got
a
big
hard
news,
one,
boys.
or-
I am going to a CFL game. I'm
fuck off.
Shut
Yes.
up.
Wear a
Yeah.
GoPro on your head.
So
You
I wanna
going
see
to
the
going to an
whole thing.
Argos game? Going to
one of my dad's clients is Andre Jury, who apparently used to play for the Argos.
Yeah. running back.
And he's hooking him up with tickets, and my dad's bringing me to the game. So I'm going to document my experience at the Argo game for the network, and I will
This is gonna be
I will
so
post
good.
everything. I'm decided I'm going to interview CFL fans.
Yes, you are.
I'm going to show them clips of things I've said about the CFL before and allow them to to defend
Retort?
the CFL. Yeah, to retort to what I had to say.
I love it.
And so I'm waiting to find out. My dad says he has a date. I'm waiting to find out. So
Do a scan of the with your phone of the
Just the
stands.
quality of CFL fan of the game. Yeah.
Just before
We'd love to see it.
halftime. Just do a scan just to see.
Yeah.
It's always a fun little
And
test.
ask how much they paid for their ticket. I want to know that.
I was
Yes,
going to say
I
the
will.
same thing. I would love for you to go around and find how many people got comped to go.
Yes.
I'll do
Please
that.
come.
So my dad.
Oh shit! My season's tickets for the Elks this year was $92.
For the season?
Whole season. We never go to our seats. We walk to the north end underneath of the screen. We buy nosebleeds, right? We buy the cheapest ticket in the building. We walk in and we just hang out by the bar. And we just drink
Every
until the bar shuts
CFL
down, and then we get on one of the buses and fuck off to another bar.
Every CFL franchise does that. I swear to God, Hamilton's the exact same way, Lochlin. We all buy out the nosebleeds and the end zone seats, and then we all end up just like meandering. And
Yeah,
that's just how it is. It's like a big
we
party.
stand at the north
with
end
overpriced
underneath
beer.
the big screen, and when
Yeah.
when you hear a small cheer, everyone turns around to see what happened.
I don't even know the score of the game when I leave a game in Hamilton. Just so you guys know,
I very
never
rarely
it.
know who's on the field.
Do you guys, do you know that the CFL actually has, Ray, I'm surprised you didn't get this package with your tickets, where you can actually go on the field and take a couple snaps.
Really?
It's called the Toes on the Turf experience.
Oh, maybe I'll get that
Can you
too.
look
I'll
into that,
document
please?
that as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ray
GoPro.
wants to,
I did
Ray
hear
wants-
that at BMO now that you can actually interact with the Argos players as they walk to and from the dressing room to the
Oh, yeah.
field.
You can
Because
drive
of-
them home.
Because they have
I
to
heard that
walk
was a thing.
through. Well, when I was at the exhibition a couple years ago, I saw Argos players leaving practice, and a couple guys jumped on bicycles and rode home. So
Wait, sorry, I actually read this wrong. You can't drive them home. They log into their Uber driver account and drive you home from the game. I just read that
fantastic.
now. Yeah,
So
sorry.
I'm gonna
You're
try
a
out.
dick.
If they win,
Such a dick.
if they win, I'm gonna try to stop a couple guys too and see if they'll talk to me. And but I'm not gonna ask them about the game. I'm gonna show them clips of the things I said about the CFL and see what they have to say. I'm really excited.
Ray get punched
I'm
out.
really excited
bro.
about this. My dad's really nervous because he thinks I'm gonna get kicked out of the building before the game starts. But
Can you try at least?
yeah, I told him. I
Please.
said if I get kicked out, you just stay and have fun, and I'll meet.
My
think
money's on
Content is
Ray.
king.
My money's on Ray. If you go and if you
Same.
go to DPN _Ray and you have a look at his vacation pics, he basically looks like a gangster with a Rottweiler on vacation. Like he literally is enormous and he is so kind and nice. But he's not the kind of guy Ray's the kind of guy, if you get to know him, Ray Rout, if you get to know him a little bit, Ray's the kind of guy who you love, you talk to, having a great time, but you probably don't want to err on his angry side. Anyway, appreciate you being here, Ray. At DPN Ray is where you can find him _Ray. Who's Got Next, name of the next podcast. Where else can we find you and your work, or is that it?
Yeah, you can find us everywhere. We have a TikTok account. It's at Who's Got Next Podcast. We have an Instagram, which I think is at Who's Got Next Podcast as well, or Who's Got Next Pod. So just look up Who's Got Next. We're the only ones that are really there. You'll find us
It's
there.
awesome.
And yeah, so that's where you can find us. Twitter is the best way to find me, though, at DPN _Ray. That's where I post all that shit. So that's the best place to find me.
Ray,
Great
can
to
I have
see
you on my show, The Locker Room, this week on this topic?
Yeah.
I'll DM you.
Yeah, DM you.
Yeah.
That is Lochlin Cross, 957 Cruise FM at Edmonton, at Lochlin Cross on Twitter. Thanks for being here. Ryan Lindley doing yeoman's work on vacation. Really great of you to join us and have some fun with us on
Love
the
you,
patio.
man.
Follow his, great to see you at Ryan Lindley on Twitter. Give him a follow. You can also download his podcast called the Sheeple Shepherd Podcast. Ray, Who's Got Next, at DPN _Ray. Great to see you. He's our sports director. Thanks to everybody for being here. Really appreciate you doing this with us. And thanks to Emmeline. Thanks to JB. Thanks to Ray for being on the program. Don't forget, you can get everything we do at DeanBlundell.com. Change is coming soon. Can't say anything else. Shh. But until then, I want to thank our sponsors and our partners, including my friends at kivlaw.ca. Rob is a good man. He's a lawyer, defense attorney, and he's the guy you call when you're in trouble, or if you think you might be in trouble and you didn't do anything, or if you just want to get your shit straight and you want to get your freedom back. That's my friend Rob Kivlikin. Go to kivlaw.ca for more information. If you are in any legal trouble whatsoever, hit him up on the cell. Call him on his cell phone, or which is right there at kivlaw.ca. Or what you can do is just email him, Robert at kivlaw.ca. Southern Ontario's best defense attorneys working for you to help keep you free and easy. Go to kivlaw.ca, Robert at kivlaw.ca for today. Also, thank you to my friends over at Ed's Fine Imports, his Gitch. I wear them, so should you. GITCH3 is your promo code. Order a pair from him today. He'll send you a pair for free at edsfineimports.com. He's got promo codes when you give him your email address. He's got a massive online store as well. And clothing for men and boys, huge Johnny Barbados line, 34 heritage jeans, the stretchy stuff. Massive online shop as well. It's super cool. So go there today. Get some clothes from Ed, including his Gitch. GITCH3 is your promo code on checkout. Give him that. You'll get a free pair of underwear sent to you. Nice guy. Loves to give people Gitch. Good dude. And Easy Auto Financial, helping people get into cars one car at a time. And if you got a problem with financing, no financing, an issue with your credit, doesn't matter. All you have to do is this. Sign up. No obligation. If you're looking for a vehicle and you don't want to do any of the legwork, these are your people. EasyAutoFinancial.ca. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow on this very program. Bye-bye.